movies. Shaved beaver. I'll sell you pubic hair for $500.
Tell him, Steve, Dave.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Tell 'em Steve Dave. I'm here with Walt.
Hello.
And from faraway land, BQ.
Hello. Hi.
Out there in Staten Island.
Yes.
Now, when you hear, Walt, that a man of BQ's stature has the same problems as every other normal man, does it make you feel a little better?
Yeah,
it does, right?
Yeah, it absolutely does. I'm just, like, you know, that like he has leaks like everybody else. His roof leaks.
Yeah.
Holy shit, man! I feel like I feel like I could tackle anything now.
I'll tell you what. Mary Beth was taking a shower yesterday. It was the water's raining down onto to the floor beneath, and I'm like, why? This is me. I'm a fucking loser.
Oh, you had a
this
leak
is
too?
shithole. Oh my god.
Well, guys, just to be clear, like my roof isn't leaking. I don't live in a ghetto.
What was leaking?
Well, I didn't mean to cut off Brian's story. I'm sorry. I don't know which way you want to go first.
Oh no, that was the story.
Oh, okay.
So just your tub leaks?
They renovated the bathroom like a month or so ago, and the leak has just got progressively worse.
Did they seal the tub?
I don't know. I would have to think no. Like if you saw the job that they did, you would be like, and I say this like whenever I want to provide a bar of how bad the work is, it's like I could do it better.
So what do you got to do? Just put towels down and try to what is she splashing around in there? Or
what's going on?
Still got a mermaid in there. Why do you got to raise your arms above your head? Come on now. No, it's like it's just. I think what it's like in the actual knob, like that where you turn the water on.
Okay.
I think it's behind the wall and in there somewhere. So like the water just comes pouring down, which means they're going to have to go and remove the thing that they just put in, like one of those. You've probably seen the commercials for them. It's like
those tubs that go slide right in.
Yeah,
one
they
pieces?
just slide right in. Just like, and I'm sure it works like that every time. That's smooth, right?
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure it's always a problem because what you're doing. This is the version of the the quick fix.
Right.
You're not going to spend the money to do it right. You're going to try to do it with this thing, like the easy, cheaper route to fix it, and usually it does not work out.
And they show how simple it is and how happy everybody is once it's done. They put a floor down. Now, when I originally called, I was like, "There's the floor is so soft, it feels like you're going to fall through it." So what they did, instead of like taking all that up, putting down new plywood, and then putting down that like floor, which actually doesn't look too bad. It's like that Pergo shit almost, this gray wood. But the wood underneath is so soft that now when you step on it, the boards are breaking. So there's a bunch of boards with splits throughout them.
I mean, I know why.
Like
I know why people do that.
An adult male in the United States. Sounds like you live in the Ukraine.
I've gotten.
I know why people go they don't want to spend the money to fix it properly the first time, but inevitably, don't you wind up spending more money like in the long run by not addressing it and fixing it properly?
Exactly. That's this like. I have a landlord, so I understand where he's like, it's a rental property. Mm-hmm. The less money I put into it, the more money I'll make back.
Right.
I used to say landlord. I'm leaning towards slumlord. But yeah, you're right. It's like they even told him. Well, first they tried to blame us. They were like, they're taking showers with the shower curtain on the outside of the tub.
How do they know that? How do they know that? It's your fault.
Yeah, oh yeah, it was our fault. Just like when the kitchen sink was leaking, it was also our fault because we piled up too much stuff underneath the sink.
Yeah,
You know, like detergent, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that affects pipes.
Yeah. The same things that everybody piles up underneath their sinks across America, we did, and somehow we were causing the problem. And I mean, in the past like 3.5 years, I guess I've lived there, the calls have been so minimal in terms of like, hey, can you fix this? Hey, can you fix that? They should have been probably triple. But it's like, I don't like dealing with people like coming into the house, and it's annoying. So I'll just let some shit go, because at this point I'm just like, fuck it, the whole fucking ceiling can come down. It's not my problem.
Yeah, you're leaving soon, right?
Yeah. What are we getting out of there? Fucking crooked house. Won't miss anything about it. Not one thing.
But what was your leak?
Oh, well, so the house is old, so the basement, like, for some reason, like, all right, so I had a French drain put in the basement, right? And then they also dug up the outside of the house and tarred it. Sounds like it should be waterproofed, right? But it's not, with a certain amount. I mean, I guess there's just, like, if the groundwater goes too high, it just goes over the foundation of the house, kind of, like, gets through. It hasn't happened since I fixed the house, but the last rain that we had, I started getting these leaks because it was just torrential. And I figured out what's going on, Walt, is my gutters have, if they get blocked, they have these pour things that, like, when it boils, when it lifts over, it spits it out. You know how, like, on churches they have gargoyles and the fucking water spouts out of them? So I have, like, not gargoyles, they're just boxes, but it spouts out. And the problem is, like, there's a blockage somewhere in the drainage system. So all the spouts on the house are pissing water into the exact spots that will leak. So I have a call into the gutter guy. I can't do it myself. I tried a month ago. Over a month, I'm waiting for the gutter guy to come. I call another person. He's like, no, we're 2 months out. It's like fucking insane. So I can't get anybody here. So I have garbage pails under the spouts to catch the water from the spouts. But then I had to then I have my pool pump in the garbage can, pumping out the water constantly. So the spout spits it into the garbage can, the pool pump spits it out. But I have 4 of them, so I had to go to Home Depot and get 4 pumps. So now I'm outside in the fucking pouring rain setting up these pumps and electric cords and everything like that. And so it's just, but they're all, I mean, I look like it. Like, I have 4 extension cords running around the outside of my house, 4 fucking pumps pumping, 4 garbage cans just sitting, like, up next to the house. It just looks like shit. And I'm
You're the modern day version of the Dutch boy with his finger in the dam.
Yeah.
I like how you're so woke you didn't say dyke.
Yeah. And I'm out there and I'm like, this is... Why am I dealing with this? Like,
well, you know what though? This is great for your PR. You know, like I said, the way you're viewed by everybody, because not only do you have the leaks, you also don't have any gargoyles.
Yeah, no gargoyles.
People would have assumed that you had gargoyles too.
Well, I'll tell you something else. While I was out there, well, you'll like this. This will help my. So my neighbor to the back of me, their house is for sale, right? And there's no one living there, and they have a pool that, I mean, they can't sell this house. It's been like 2 years they can't sell this house, and but no one's been there for over a year. So their pool has one of those blue pool pumps in it, and it got clogged. So the whole cover of the pool is like forming a lake. So in the rain today, I went out there. I got into that fucking lake. I pulled out the pump, their pump. I opened it up. I got all the leaves and the gunk out. I cleaned it all out. Fucking pouring rain. Put it back. Plugged it into my outlet because I don't know that I ran an extension cord down to their house. So now I'm pumping out their pool cover. nobody even lives there, just to help out the next owners of the house.
Wow, that is fucking unreal.
Yeah, that's a nice guy.
That's like, Rush should remake that song, Modern Day Tom Sawyer, but Modern Day Dutch Boy.
Fucking leaks all over Staten Island.
They got leaks for days, and there's probably gonna be some fucking asshole.
Wow,
that
yeah, man, but and no one will even know. Well, now they will.
Yeah. Oh, you knew I was mentioning it while I was doing it. I was like, how do I get this out there? Is this worth a press release? I don't know.
Yeah, will the AP cover this? Probably not, but at least I'll say it on TSD.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's been my morning. So I'm, so it's a little frustrating. So thank you for your patience.
No problem.
Yeah, and here we are doing it remotely now, but that's all right. I can still see you
What
guys.
are you gonna do? Sometimes you got to do it remotely.
You got to do it remotely. Sometimes.
Better than nothing.
Yeah.
Q, this won't really affect you, Walt. I don't think you'll be able to relate to this, but you have been to Key West.
Florida.
You've been to Florida?
Yes.
Been down to Key West. Q, you and I have been down there several times.
Yes, love Key West.
Many.
It's like you're home away from home.
It's definitely top 3 of my favorite places on the planet. I love it down there.
Yeah, me too. And I vacationed there more with Q than I have any other place with any girlfriend.
Just 2 dudes shuffling off to Key West for a lovely weekend.
However, I read some very disturbing news yesterday.
Oh no!
That some of the townspeople and some of the business owners are tired of Fantasy Fest's debauchery, and they're looking to shut down what makes Fantasy Fest great.
Is Fantasy Fest, is this on the level of like hedonism?
No, I would say it's more on the level of like Mardi Gras.
Okay.
There's some flash and there's some risque
but
costumes.
There is some nudity.
Stuff. Oh yeah, definitely.
It's not sugarcoated.
No, there's definitely.
I try to play it down. All right, you guys are so quick. There's some flashing.
You might catch it here and there. When I went last time with Mary Beth, there was no flashing. It was, thankfully, because everybody was like 80. But that was before the weekend where all the kids come down. But in case you're even wondering what we're talking about, Fantasy Fest is a 10-day celebration down in Key West, Florida, for Halloween.
Which we don't even go to anymore. We don't go to Fantasy Fest, or I haven't gone in many years. Yeah.
Is that amateur hour, Q?
No. Fantasy Fest is a blast, and I recommend anybody go. Just for me, in a crowd full of drunks for 4 days straight, I can't pull it off anymore. But I encourage anybody to go. It's a blast. Unless it sounds like they're about to change the rules.
It says rule changes are imminent.
Ooh.
But from what I understood, none of that shit was legal anyway. But the cops just sort of overlooked it. They closed down Duval Street. It was limited to a certain area. But now people are complaining people are having sex in the alleyways and they're walking around naked and blah, blah, blah.
Why do people do that?
Sex in the alleyways?
Yeah, I can't imagine it's comfortable. So I can't imagine it's somewhat degrading, I would think.
Oh, they ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, exactly it.
So you do understand.
Yeah, but why don't people they must have a room. Why can't they get it together to at least make it back to their rooms?
Well, I think probably the excitement of knowing that somebody might come around the corner, or there's people walking by in the distance as you're under the cover of the foliage, banging away.
Foliage,
yeah.
Would you consider trash cans and garbage bags and
That's a very
dumpsters?
It's a tropical area.
Right, but I imagine.
And to answer your question, yes, I would.
'Cause I don't see much greenery in an alleyway.
No, I think they're talking about their people's homes.
All right.
Yeah, not necessarily alleyways in between businesses and shit, but it's they go off into the side streets and they can't control themselves.
Now, I think this is the common thing that happens, though. You are kind of on the side of hey, let it happen, baby.
Let it fly.
History has said that this is great for the area. This is why people like to come here. This is why you like to go there. But what if it was in your backyard?
If it was in my backyard?
Yeah, literally. In your backyard, you had like every morning you would hear something and you look back there and there's a couple going at it fiercely, ferociously.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't be crazy about it. Fiercely and ferociously. I probably wouldn't be crazy. I can, but I don't care enough. It's too good of a time.
But did they know what they're getting into, though, when they purchase property in this area? They know that this happens every year.
Some people probably do. And it only affects, like, I would say probably like people within a couple block radius of Duval Street, right?
Yeah. I would say it's probably not, like, nobody's wandering like a quarter mile from Duval Street to bang in a yard or anything like that.
No. So it's the immediate residents in what they call Old Town. And I have to think, I mean, it's been going on since 1979, and somebody was quoted in one of the... socks just burst in. It was quoted as saying, I think the mayor, somebody was quoted as saying, like, it's... wasn't started as a family-friendly event, but it wasn't also supposed to be a XXX event either.
Right.
Now, I have not seen any XXX behavior or content.
We did see back in the 90s, there was that one woman leading a naked girl around on a leash who would allow you to touch her in any way you wanted for $1. I mean,
for $1.
That sounds pretty triple, right? You know.
Yeah, I guess so. That is pretty XXX. I wonder what she's doing today, that girl on the leash.
She was younger than us then, and I was, 24? And she was younger than us. She was like 23, 22, I think she said she was. So she's around my age now. She's out there doing it. Maybe she's out there on the leash still. I hope so. She likes it.
Wouldn't you like to think that she's still out there on the leash having a good time?
I would choose to believe that, yeah. But she probably, instead broke up with that girl and then married some dude who's like, you're not getting on a leash. That was it.
Or if he even knows of her past leash life.
Oh, even worse.
Yeah.
Oh, his wife was on a leash on Duval Street.
Yeah. Let anybody touch her for $1.
Oh, God almighty. No.
Which was in the late 90s, early 2000s was probably still only worth, $1.30. It's not like inflation kicked it up that much.
Yeah, maybe she invested that money. I don't know. She liked it, though. She was happy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, she made a couple bucks.
So I can see what they're saying, though. It's not... There is a line. If it was just painted boobies, we might not be having this conversation. But it is people take it too far. Everybody's their own worst enemy, right? So it's like somebody's just banging in a yard or leaving condoms in someone's pool or some shit like that. And I understand. That would get me pissed as well, no?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it would.
Yeah. So what are the new rules?
I don't know. They said that they haven't been named, but they're imminent. And it seemed like body painting was going the way of the dinosaur.
No.
Which to me is that shuts down a lot of independent body painters within the a lot of people are gonna lose out on some money.
Can't they just paint their bodies by wearing a bikini?
I guess so, but that's not the point.
Yeah, but you still see 90% of your body is exposed, and you can have all the beautiful paintings on it on your back, on your belly, on your arms, on your legs. Why is it got to be right now one certain area, or else it doesn't matter? Then it's not
because
art.
That's the best area.
Yeah, but it has to be there. Then it's art. It's just not worth anything.
Well, it's not the same.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But it doesn't make any sense.
Because then you got to paint your whole bikini too.
Hey, you're gonna ruin a bikini?
I know. Bikinis are expensive.
Well, I mean, maybe if they were maybe if it was just you have to wear a bikini bottom by law. But why can't you go topless? Women can go topless in New York City. It's legal for women to go topless if they want.
Isn't that weird? They passed that law and then you never see any women topless in New York City.
Well, I mean, have you walked the streets of fucking New York City?
Wouldn't want to.
Nah, you wouldn't want to these days.
Yeah, so next time, I guess I went to one of the last fantasy fests because we went 2 years ago. Mary Beth and I.
Yeah.
So one of the last.
Oh man, that's all right. It's kind of Key West has kind of become like Vegas for me, where it's it's not the same experience I had when I was a younger man and I was going. Now I go for different reasons, but Key West has all those reasons, I find. Like, it's a great place to go with your friends and sit at a bar and just have some drinks and go out on the water and shit like that. So even though it's lost that that dirty vibe, you know what I mean? That
edge.
That edge. I find I don't need the edge anymore, Walt. I'm okay going down there for the other bountiful treasures of the Florida Keys.
He says that a lot. He makes these proclamations. Do you find that to be true? I think he still needs that edge.
Oh, I think so too. Yeah, he definitely. If I need it, I know he needs it.
I don't know who he's trying to convince that he doesn't need it.
He's really trying to build himself up. He's like, I helped my neighbor today. Now I need the edge.
I don't need boobies.
I think you get a couple drinks in him, then it comes right back.
Yeah, he's not going down. He's not in his his cardigan, like his fucking Mr. Rogers mode. Even with a couple drinks in him, he's Mr. Rogers turns into the Incredible fucking Hulk.
Yeah. But doesn't everybody need a little bit of an edge as you get older? No? You don't need an edge?
No.
You're not throwing condoms in anyone's
I
pools?
never needed an edge. From the out of the womb, I didn't need an edge, man. I stayed as far away from the edge as possible. Where's the edge? You'll find me on the other fucking far away on the other side.
You go too
there
far.
with Brian and Brian. Too far to the edge.
And what happens?
You find another edge. If you go too far from one edge, you find the other edge, buddy.
True. But I've always been able to find comfort in never seeing the edge. Not even seeing the edge. It's so far away, I can't even see it.
I don't even like to hear about it.
That way, you never fall. You never have to worry about like falling off the edge with the metaphor of falling out of bed or anything. It's nice and safe.
Okay. I hear you.
But I'm only saying, but like I said, I think I'm the unicorn. Like Bryce said, everybody needs the edge. But there are a few. Sunday Jeff doesn't need an edge.
No, I don't think in his private life, Sunday Jeff has some sort of edge.
No.
Like that we don't know?
No.
We don't know about. Okay.
I would bet anything on it. I would bet anything on it. There's no edge.
You don't think he watches the Red Shoe Diaries or something like that?
I think his edge is going even more vanilla.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to push it.
Yeah, that's how he gets edgy. He's like, I'm going to make it even more plain and vanilla.
The vanilla edge.
Yeah, really. I mean, you think about you and Sunday, and this guy's like, I don't need the edge.
I like that, Vanilla Edge. It's a good name for a band, the Vanilla Edge. Just play just play covers of very non-controversial songs and stuff like that.
Something that could have possibly
some dad rock.
Yeah, some dad rock, but not like the naughty dad rock.
Is there naughty dad rock?
Well, if you listen to the Rolling Stones and stuff like that, I think that they get sexy. I think you got to stick to
I would not consider the Stones dad rock.
Oh, really?
I was thinking something very oh my God, who's that band? Oh, I can't remember. 38 Special.
Oh, okay.
Hold on, Lucy. Don't let go.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
38 Special.
Yeah,
Uh
Loverboy.
huh. Starship.
Everybody's working.
Starship.
Yeah.
These are the bands that they wouldn't have the scandalous lyrics that the Stones had.
Right. All right, Vanilla Edge. I love it.
REO Speedwagon.
Oh yeah.
Take it on the run,
baby. Born to Be Wild is as crazy as they get.
Yeah. And they play it ironically.
Yeah.
Halfway through, they're like, no, we're just kidding. We're not serious.
I love it.
Yeah, so it's the death of, or at least the last gasping breaths of a place that factored in heavily into our, I don't want to say youth because I was probably 30 when we went.
I consider that youth now.
But yeah, place that. God, we like. If you were to say like, okay, name your top 10 memories, like easily a couple of our trips fall in there.
Yeah, it's a special place. I do love it down there. But this could all be PR stuff. We'll see who follows those rules.
Yeah.
And it's like everything else. Like I just find like, just like everything was just better in the 90s, man. This is the way it was. It's just like another thing.
Do you glorify it though? Maybe, do you, like, as you get further away from those days, do you, as people tend to do you glorify those days? And maybe they were even, they were good, but they weren't like where you're putting them, where at this untouchable status.
No, I think that everything's so annoying and bad now that it's undeniable that almost any other time was better than this. I might be putting on the rose-tinted glasses, but we're living in a shit time right now. So
it does seem like there's an unprecedented amount of finger wagging.
Oh, I mean, it's
every single fucking thing you do.
It's finger wagging. But the finger wagging has been going on for so long now that you're just like, oh fuck this. But like, it's just like everything now. It's not even like the finger wagging has led to annoyance on another side that just wants to annoy the other side, and that wants to. So it's like everybody's just amping up bullshit for years now, and you're just like, those of us in the middle are like, I just don't care about this.
The noise has gotten too loud.
I think for most people, I don't think for me. Yeah,
I think it's accurate.
Yeah.
It's so deafening now that it's hard. You just can't bear to listen to it anymore.
You can't bear to listen to it, and it's just like, I mean, of course, Chicken Little, right? The sky is falling, or the boy that cried wolf, right? It's like. Everything is a fucking panic. Everything's an existential crisis. No matter what happens, it's the end of the world today. And you're just like, man, there's only so many times I could hear that America's dead and gone before I'm like, oh, maybe you guys just don't know what you're talking about. I don't know. So weird things been happening lately, Walt. I've been finding hope. I don't know, man. Like, I'm starting to think like more and more that like, for some reason, it's unearned, but my faith in America and Americans is rising.
Oh, wow. I thought you were going to say religion. I was just like, dude.
No.
That's fucking dope.
Not yet. Not yet. I'm not that dope.
I thought he was going to say, I've been finding hope.
No.
And I was just like, this is going to be a fucking balls out episode where Q finds God.
Not yet. No.
Not yet. Okay.
No.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. We're working towards it. The older I get, the closer to death I get.
Everybody does.
Like if you're dying.
Oh no! It's almost time. Where is he? Where's God? I need him now. God, it's BQ. Remember God? It's me, Margaret.
Oh yeah, it's me, Margaret. Yeah.
It's coming.
Oh yeah, everybody faces it.
Yeah, she wasn't talking about God, though. Wasn't she talking about her period?
Yeah, I just was using the title of the book for anybody who remembers it. I'm sure there's not many.
No, there can't be, because there's no way. Although I don't know, do you think it's reintroduced into the literary mainstream?
I think remember how titillating? I don't know if you know it was about this book, Q, but
hey, God, it's me, Margaret.
Yeah,
I've heard of it.
What was the titillating aspect of that book? There was only one sentence about it, but
I don't remember.
It'd be the teenage girl character talks about her getting her period, and that was all we had back in the 70s, man. We took that book out of the library to read that sentence, because it was so hot. We were just like, how? Because we didn't
know from gross
12 and 13 or 11. So to see a book in the public school library talking about those things was so erotic, man. We didn't have cable TV.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so it was just like, maybe you found a Playboy in the woods.
All right.
But this, you could, if you didn't have anything, you just went down and checked out. Hey God, it's me, Margaret.
What do you mean it's out?
Johnson hasn't brought that book back yet. That motherfucker's had it for 3 weeks.
Dude, what was going on in the woods? Because we all found Playboys in the woods. We all found them.
Isn't it fucked up? Like I think that had to be a 70s/80s phenomenon.
Yeah.
I think aliens were leaving Playboys and penthouses in the woods.
Crazy. Behind Wagner High School on Staten Island, me and my cousin were walking and we just came upon like a stack of like a magazine called Shaved, the Shaved magazine, and it was like, and it was exposed to the elements, but they were still in good shape. Like you're like, what is going on? Yeah.
So they just were
freshly
dropped off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
did you even think about it at the time? Like, where'd these come from? No. It was just like, holy shit.
They're beaver. Say beaver?
Yeah, beaver.
Shaved beaver.
Yeah. Like, I can't tell you the amount of times frolicking through the woods, you'd stumble upon a penthouse or a weed or something, and you would just be like, where did this come from? Why is it here?
Yeah. Ah, that's right.
Thank God it is, though.
I remember coming across with Mark London, coming across it was a small trunk. It wasn't a full-size trunk, but it was just sitting out there in the woods.
Yeah, you told everybody about that.
Yeah, and I opened it up, and it was full of fucking books, full of magazines.
That was the treasure chest.
Yeah.
That was your literal treasure chest.
Yes.
You know, don't go looking for gold or money because you already found yours.
Yeah.
Be happy you had that.
This is my currency.
How many treasure chests does one man expect to find in this world?
I'm like, they should be on every street corner.
In a way it is, because of the internet. Now the treasure's everywhere.
Yeah, but now the treasure means nothing because it is so accessible.
Yeah, you're right about that. Yeah.
And you could wander from the woods from all the way to Staten Island, all the way to Jersey in Monmouth County. You're not going to find skin magazines in the woods anymore because it's so rare to find a skin magazine anywhere.
Yeah,
because of the internet. So that's why you're like, that's like finding a fucking dinosaur bone. It's better than finding a dinosaur bone because it's at least real.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, but no, my faith in Americans, Walt. I'm starting to have faith. I think America's going to come out of this.
Okay, what can you point to that makes you go
nothing.
Like, you know,
absolutely nothing? But I'm just thinking about how amazing Americans are, and like how as a society and as a people, we're unequaled in the world, in the history of the human race. There's nothing like America, and I think that people are going to start realizing that again. I think.
Yeah?
I do. I think we're going to turn a corner. I think we're going to start seeing each other as Americans again.
Oh, man. Like Americans seeing each other as only Americans?
Not as only. I think that fucking is out of the bag, but I think that'll be the dominant. I think that'll become like, I do think that'll eventually become the unifying thing for everybody. We're Americans.
I mean, I hope so, but I don't see it happening. I just think that
it's going to get worse.
Things are just so bad. I mean, it's crazy. Both sides are just fucking lunatics.
They're all lunatics, but the middle's getting sick of it, I think. I don't know, dude. I'm telling you, I have faith. Yeah. I have faith in Americans. I do. I don't know why, but lately it's been growing inside of me where I'm like, yeah, Americans will turn this around. Like, we turned everything around.
It's so hard, though, to think we'll ever get there because one side tells you, the sky is orange or purple, and the other side tells you an apple is a banana, and each side believes whatever is being told to them. Like, they fucking don't question anything.
Yeah,
it's just like, I don't know how you fucking get to a place where where it was when we were little. I don't think anybody was after each other's throats the way it is now.
No, but I think it's coming. I think there's going to be a leader rises. Something. There'll be something. I feel.
It's called a civil
I
war.
hope so.
Yeah,
I hope you're right. It could be. I could be you, man, with this fucking.
Nope.
You plug in fucking fixing pools, your neighbor's pool. It starts somewhere.
Well, I mean, I've always.
You don't have any skeletons, right? Like you could run for office.
No, I mean, no skeletons that like people don't know about already.
Well, you know what? The skeletons you have though don't matter anymore. Maybe a little nookie in an alleyway in Key West. That's not going to stop somebody from being president anymore.
No,
it's going to be a hell of those. Yeah, you don't have those kind of skeletons. You could get there.
Yeah, that I don't want to do.
Likable.
I'm
so likable.
No, I want to follow. I want to follow this great leader.
You want to follow? Okay.
Yeah, I'm a follower. Not a leader. I don't think. But fuck, man, you guys want to hear something? I read this book and I'm trying to work my way through something. You guys want to hear something weird? I think you'll like this, Walt. I think you'll like this a lot.
Let me tell you about underpants.
Oh, okay.
MeUndies, the only underpants that should exist. When you're cocooned in the softest and most breathable undies, loungewear, and swimwear known to humanity, all your other problems will simply melt away. You read that newspaper, Q, you see all those fucking headlines. You watch.
Read a newspaper.
I don't know. Do people read newspapers anymore?
Not at all.
That's not true. I still read this Staten Island Advance. I still read it.
Do you?
You have a subscription?
It's the Sunday, yeah.
Oh, okay.
There you go. Well,
I was wrong. I apologize to the newspaper
old
industry.
School. Yeah. There's one or two guys that are like, what'd he say? And they're so expensive, too, newspapers, the ones that do exist.
$5 for a newspaper?
Yeah, get the fuck out of here. Let's see, personal endorsement. Mary Beth says, I guess this is just the way it is now.
Yeah.
We gotta rely on
I'm surprised it took you almost 2 years to figure that out.
Mama loves MeUndies. I'm going to have to get her some cute springtime prints. MeUndies are better than granny panties. So I guess she's talking about her mom's underpants. But hey,
you know what,
though?
MeUndies are better than granny underpants.
Oh, they definitely are.
Yeah?
That's a low bar to set for MeUndies, but...
better than granny panties. That's along the lines of, like, they're okay, I guess.
I would go back to the PR team and be like, we got to come up with something more snappier than that.
Yeah, like, okay, we all know that granny panties are a big no-no. So let's just put that to the side. Let's face it, summer is sweaty, but your butt doesn't have to be. With MeUndies light and breathable micro-modal fabric, you can stay comfy and cool all summer long. They have super fun seasonal prints and tons of styles to choose from in sizes extra small to 4XL, so you can bring the beach to your butt without ever leaving your living room. I would recommend that. If you do dare to brave the heat and venture to the pool or beach, if it's in Key West, watch out for condoms. Check out their new and improved swimwear styles. Oh, so now they got bathing suits. I know you love to swim, Walt.
Oh, nice.
I love.
They're soft, stretchy, and sustainably made. Make it a soft summer with MeUndies. And MeUndies has a great offer for listeners. This is a great offer, so listen up. For any first-time purchasers, you get 15% off. If you sign up for their free-to-join membership, you can apply that 15% off to their already discounted membership prices. So to get 15% off your first order and a 100% satisfaction guarantee, go to MeUndies.com/TESD. That's MeUndies.com/TESD. All right, Q.
Oh, were you reading, Q?
So it's this book on, and it's such a complex idea that I'm not going to be able to, like, there's going to be people out there who are going to be like, he doesn't know what he's talking about. And they're absolutely right. Because I've also only read like 3 chapters of this book, but it's already like blowing my mind in a way that I was like, I can't wait to talk about Walt about this. Because it's about time. The book's about the concept of time.
I'm intrigued already.
I knew you would be, dude. And it's like, I was like, so far what I've read of the book, I've had to put it down and just be like, I can't even fucking wrap my head around what's going on. And the concepts of it are crazy, but like you've heard that, time, the point of the book, just give me a second to work through this because it's really complex. The point of the book is like, there's really no such thing as time. It's like time doesn't violate a single natural law of physics. Like, there's nothing to prove that time exists except for heat. Heat is the only thing that can't go in reverse. Everything else can go in reverse, is what this book is saying. And then he goes to show on how time is meaningless in this way, where it's like, you know that, I don't know if you guys know this, I've heard this in my life, but you know how like speed affects time? You've heard of that? Like the faster you go, the slower time passes.
Yes.
Okay.
Like Superman.
Right. Okay. But like that's a problem with space travel, where if like a spaceship takes off and goes the speed of light, by the time where they get where they're going, like a month will have passed on the starship, but like 6 years would have passed on Earth. Like there's all sorts of time gets janky with speed, but this book's also saying that time also gets janky with height, where if someone's standing on a mountain and someone's standing in like the plains or a wheat field, the person at the top of the mountain ages faster than the person in the fields, right? And these are generally accepted things that we've heard our entire lives. But this guy is like, well, if that's true, then what's going on? Like, so that means that every point between the mountain, the top of the mountain and the plain, because it's a gradual, it's not like a light switch just goes off and suddenly you're aging faster up here and down here. It's a gradual thing. So at each point from the top of the mountain to the plains is a different speed of time. So when he's saying like, so is it
measurable?
Oh, it's measurable.
It's so tiny, it's not even measurable.
Well, no, you can measure it, but it is really tiny, but it's measurable. So they're like, so he's like, all right, so what is his point is like, so what does time mean then? He's like, if it's different from here, if the top of the table that you're at is experiencing a different time flow than the feet of the table, what the fuck is time? And then you add speed into it, and he's like, okay, so now, not only do you have something that is, your head is technically aging faster than your feet, but also if you're going fast, then there's no such thing as time. Like if time could be warped in every direction, there's no such thing as time. It's hard to explain, but you're just like,
you're doing a pretty good job. I can understand it.
Yeah, they're like,
I get it.
Everybody looks at time as just this flowing river, but it's actually like every single part of our existence is ruled by different rivers of time, and then if you add in speed, so it's like, so how do we simplify it to like time's just this river, something starts, it goes on, it ends, but the reality of it is it's so complex that we don't even fucking understand what's happening, and we simplify it to this one fucking thing. But his thing is just like, there's no way it's what we think it is. And they're just now starting to get into this, and you're like, well, what the fuck is going on? If time doesn't exist, it definitely doesn't exist as we know it and understand it. So then what does it actually exist as? And you're just like,
it exists as a state of gravity.
It's very, very complex issue. Maybe the most complex issue brought to the table until Steve Dave.
Yeah.
I would think that it's possible that one day somebody or one government will be able to weaponize time.
Yeah, sure. That's unfortunate.
Well, I mean, it depends.
As long as it's America.
Yeah, you would say. Yeah, it's.
But yeah, I mean, so you're saying if let's say somebody lived their life closer to the ground, I just live my life moving around my day-to-day things I was doing, but I just crawled on my belly.
Yeah.
Slightly, probably would be slightly younger, not even measurable maybe.
Right.
But my body would be a little bit, just a nanosecond maybe younger than the person who walked upright.
Correct.
And it's hardly worth it.
It's not worth it, but it's like, it's fascinating.
Yeah, but it's a baby step.
Right. And so he's saying that time is all right, so so he's saying the sun and the earth, right, affect each other, right? But what's between the sun and the earth? Nothing but space and time. So his point is they're not affected what we think of as gravity. And again, this is where I'm sure I'm getting this wrong somehow. What we think of as gravity is really time. And
that's fucking just, my head just exploded.
It's crazy. He says, so when you drop something, when you drop a ball, it's not headed down towards what we think of as gravity. It's headed towards slower time.
You're subscribing to this.
I mean, the guy's a fucking goddamn astrophysicist. I don't know. I like I said, I'm only.
But are we ready to fucking throw Newton under the bus?
Well, I don't think that his point is that Newton isn't wrong. It's all a scientific journey through discovery.
So is it possible, like, if we dug down deep enough into underneath the crust and were to live under the crust and not be, would that be good enough to change the way we age?
I don't think so. I doubt it. I mean, not in any real way. But I mean, it's just like, but he's just like, think about it. He's like, how does the Earth, like, there's nothing in space. So how is the Earth just sitting there? It's all these fucking concepts where you're like, man, all this shit seems so obvious, but at the same time.
Did you read this after spending time in that volcano that you guys bought each other?
Not at all. I read it on the beach in the Bahamas, and I'm like, this is like, I can't get my head around it. I just can't get my head around it. I'm like, I'm just.
Yeah, it's tough. But who's the guy that wrote it? Do you know his name?
Yeah.
He should be protected, because I think he could be opening up a can of worms that people may want to silence him.
Maybe.
Yeah, who's it? Solomon Rushdie?
No, I'm looking at him now. Yeah. But his point is, like, this is all laid out in this is what Einstein's theory of relativity is. He's like, he's saying it's impossible the concept of time goes out the window. All right, this is a great way to put it. He's like, we see via light, right? Like, light hits something, reflects off, and comes to our eyes, and that's how we see. That's how we evolved. But even though it takes a split nanosecond for light to hit your skin and then come to my eyes to see what you're doing, you're already technically, even though it's measurable by nanoseconds, I'm looking at your past. Because you already did what I'm seeing the light showing me you did. So it's like we're already living in different time frames, even though it's adjusted by nanoseconds. It's like, he's like, that's where we're at. Now you put that on a planetary scale. He goes, and there's a fucking planet all the way on some other fucking 4 years away where it takes light 4 years to hit you. It's like the concept of time goes out the window. Who's present is the present. My present when I'm seeing the light hit my eyes, or your present when the light's hitting your skin and going to my eyes? There's no fucking things. There's no such thing as the present. It's like I can't fucking take it. My mind's unraveling.
Q's having an episode right now.
Yeah, I can't take it.
We're gonna stop down for a minute.
But you see what I mean?
Wait, somebody call 911 in Staten Island.
You can't figure out time.
Mr. Quinn, you're going to come with us.
What do you mean?
We have a nice, comfortable room.
It's a safe place.
When do you live? Where are you from? When are you from?
There's no clocks on the wall in the room we're going to take you to, Mr. Quinn.
Clocks don't matter. That's my point.
So you agree with me?
Yeah, he's like before clocks existed, he's like, what the fuck did everybody do? They were just like, oh, the sun's up, it's the highest point, it's midday. But midday in fucking Europe is different from midday in fucking California, so which one's the real midday? That's how crazy time is. It's out of control, Walt. Anyway, this guy's name is Carlo Rovelli, and the book's called The Order of Time, and it's crazy to read it.
How many chapters in?
Only 3. So I don't know.
So how many chapters in total?
It's not a thick book. It's kind of like it's a short book, but I don't know, maybe 12 or 13 chapters. But like, it's not a page turner. You can't. You have to.
Right. Yeah.
You got to sit with some of these ideas, and I'm not as smart enough to really grasp them as well as I should, which is why I'm babbling. But so the book's called The Order of Time, and the guy's name is Carlo Rovelli, Rovelli.
Wait a minute. Did I just have like that? Felt like deja vu. Didn't he say that already? Or am I just really? Am I getting fucked up? Did you say that twice or no?
I think I said it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You're fucking me up now. Now you got me like all weirded out.
Yeah.
He said the name of the book twice and the author, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, all right. I just want to make sure, or else I was having a really fucking weird episode too.
In the same room as him.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. I mean, the point of the thesis, one of the thesis statements of the book is like, why do you remember the past and not the future? And it's so obvious to say because the future hasn't happened yet, but it looks like these rules are breaking down. I don't know, man. Are they?
Yeah, I don't know.
Brian looks skeptical.
I'm trying to figure it out. I just imagine it must drive him crazy on New Year's Eve when it's like, it's New Year's in Tokyo, it's New Year's in Australia.
Yeah, I didn't think time zones were that fucking like.
No. Well, time zones are
mind-bending.
time zones are separate from what he's saying. Time zones are like, yeah.
If the planet is going to measure time by the sun.
Yeah.
That's why everybody's time is different because the planet is facing the sun at different times.
100%. He was just using that as like the middle age. That's not part of his. I shouldn't even
get him on TSDQ. You got enough fucking pull to get him on.
I think he's Italian or Spanish.
Oh, he doesn't speak. He must speak English.
Probably. We could try.
It's the language of science, for God's sake.
All right, I'll give it a shot. I'll see if I can get him to explain this stuff.
Do you have anybody that can reach out to him, not you, on your behalf, and be like, please just give us a half hour of your time that doesn't matter or doesn't exist?
I've reached out to authors of books I've read, and they've gotten back to me, so I'll try with him.
Man, how awesome would it be to have him explain it to us? Three fucking dopes.
Oh, he's Italian. Great.
Did you say that already too?
Yeah. I said he's Italian.
Are you fucking with us?
No. I said he's Italian or Spanish or something. I didn't know which one.
Oh, okay.
He's Italian. He's one of my brethren. All right. Wow.
Right, do you recommend him finishing this book? It looks like it's really fucking with him, though.
Yeah, it could cause problems in life.
It could cause brain damage, it sounds like.
He's getting swirly.
His brain is bleeding. I can fucking hear it.
Say I'm 4 years away from Earth. And you're 2 years in the other direction.
There's light.
The light hit my eyes.
In his eye.
And then it's off the skin. And we're like, what time is it?
There is no time, yo.
Oh, snap.
It could be the 90s all over again, Walt. That's what I'm getting at.
We can go back to Key West.
This is you somehow trying to find some way to go back to the 90s.
Put his edge back.
I just want to live in 99 forever. It was the best. It was the best. Y2K changed everything.
This guy probably is going to blow up now because of this episode, though.
Yeah.
What's his name again? Ronaldo?
No. Carlo Rovelli. And I'm seeing that people.
Galileo. He's another Italian. These Italians are very fucking. They're scientists.
Pretty smart, man.
Yeah, they're very smart.
I love the Italians. Oh, the audiobook is read by Doctor Strange, so this is already out there.
Cumberbatch?
Cumberbatch.
That's the triple X version. Benedict Cumbersnatch.
Did you see Doctor Strange?
I did see Doctor Strange. Did you see it?
I didn't see it yet, but just give me your thumbs up, thumbs down.
A thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Good to hear.
Yeah.
Everybody that I've talked to that's seen it has given thumbs up.
Yeah, it's not as, without ruining anything. Well, it's Sam Raimi, so it's like there's a lot of Sam Raimi touches in it that I fucking adored because it's been a while. But it's not as weird as it should be. It could have been way weirder for a multiverse movie, but it's solid. It's solid. It's fun to watch. So yeah, you'll like it.
Can't wait to see it. Yeah, I'm hoping to see it next weekend.
And it kind of retro, because I didn't really like WandaVision that much. I disagreed with a lot that happened on the show, but it turns out that my views on the show were accurate. It's pretty cool. Like, it actually made me retroactively rejudge WandaVision.
Oh, well, that's impressive. That's going deep. Then altering perceptions of past content.
Yeah, because my whole problem with WandaVision is like, I'm like, why is everybody blowing this woman? She's a bad guy. She's a villain. And
Right.
this movie
She
has
tortured people.
I could not understand why so many people are like, yeah, WandaVision, she's so cool. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I remember being like, well, the sword agent, that's the bad guy of WandaVision. I remember being like, but he's the good guy. I don't know why everybody's fucking, like, because he's a fucking white male dude. He's the bad guy. Like, he's right. I go, he's fucking right. And I caught shit for that. And then this movie kind of is like, maybe Q was right a little bit.
You were on the right side of history, Q.
For once. Not since 99 have I been on the right side of history. Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah. A lot of cool cameos.
Some cool cameos, not as many cool cameos as you want. That's what I'm saying. They could have made it a lot weirder and bigger, but the cameos that they have are pretty cool.
Yeah, I was like, there was some rumors that Lou Ferrigno as the Hulk was going to pop up, and I was like, there is nothing more than I want to see is in the Marvel Universe than Lou Ferrigno bouncing around as the Hulk, but it didn't happen, I heard.
No, that's what I'm saying. They didn't embrace like the multiverse aspect of it. I thought we were going to see Deadpool. I thought we were going to see I thought we were going to see all this shit. And it's a fairly linear story, but still good. But I still enjoyed it.
What's up next? Got an ad?
Got an ad and then a special guest queue that
all right,
I haven't alerted you about.
Oh, this is exciting.
But first, let's talk about Raycon. Moms are one of the few people in our lives who still leave voicemails on our phones or call to just say hi. I don't find that to be the case.
No.
Q. No. She texts me a lot with lots of emojis and shit.
My mom has a habit of calling, and I'm always happy for my mom to see. But my mom has a habit of calling at like 9 o'clock at night.
Oh yeah.
And I'm always like, it's 9 o'clock at night, Ma. But you can't say that because it's your mother. You know?
Yeah, it's true. Or you could just like not pick up.
Yeah.
Say fuck her.
I would never do that to my mom. You gotta pick up. But let's say you've been breaking into that volcano a little bit, and then then you're trying to talk to your mom.
That's tough sometimes, yeah. Because then it seems really long. Like the conversation seems much longer.
That's because time has no meaning. That's what I'm saying.
There you go. And you're right. As proven by Volcano, like Walt said.
I just don't want to see a report on the news that Practical Joker found wandering nude, screaming about there is no time on the street.
Volcano under his arm.
It's a time quake.
That's why I think maybe you should burn that book immediately.
Oh, I gotta read this book, man. Heresy. But I mean, that doesn't blow you away, Walt? That
it does.
Time is that
I'm just
fickle?
joshing with you.
Like it's that
it's very
fickle?
fucked up. Yeah. Just like a lady.
Just like a mother.
Sorry, we're doing the ad. All right, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Make this Mother's Day special. Oh, wait, make that next mom call extra special. Spoil your mom with a gift of premium quality wireless audio courtesy of Raycon. Raycon wireless earbuds are a must-have for super moms. Not you regular moms, just super moms. All those masters of multitasking who need to keep their hands free. With Raycons, they can stay entertained listening to their favorite podcast or music, plus take phone calls with vivid voice technology, all hands-free. Raycons are user-friendly for those moms who are just switching to wireless earbuds. Easy to set up, easy to use, and seamless Bluetooth pairing. You know what they're saying there. If your mom's old and feeble and doesn't know how to work technology,
yeah,
these are for her. They're going to be easy for her.
Well, let's see if they say that on Father's Day, though. Oh, wait a minute. This is an ad, right?
This is an ad.
I'm not supposed to be slamming them. Okay.
I also don't know what you're angry about.
Well, because it's like, I wonder if they would say that if they're saying it about moms. Because they're like, will they say that about fathers, though? That they're too... Because dudes usually have more of a perception that they're better with tech than women.
True.
It's just truth. I mean, I don't subscribe to it. But I think,
I'm not going to live that close to the edge. They come come in a bunch of fun color options, so you can find mom a color that suits her personality and style. With optimized gel tips for the perfect in-ear fit, these earbuds are so comfortable they will not budge. So she won't have a hard time getting used to them. And then it says, feel free to joke about how moms can be when they're not used to something new. Thank you for that permission to joke about that, if that's what we want to do. Anyway, for the mom on the go, Raycons offer 8 hours of playtime and a 32-hour battery life with the compact portable charging case. And they're priced just right. You get quality audio at half the price of other premium audio brands. And Raycon's everyday earbuds have over 49,000 5-star reviews, perfectly fitting for a 5-star mom. So if your mom's anything less than 5 stars, I don't know, get her something else, some other crappy brand. But if you believe she's 5-star, then get her some Raycons. My mom does not use Raycons. My mom does not use anything like that. She just uses speakers.
Really?
Yeah, but maybe for the sake of Edgar, I could get her some of these Raycons. And then he won't have to listen to Josh Groban all the time.
She's still doing this?
Yep, she's still hardcore.
11 years in, it's still her go-to. There's nothing else.
The fire hasn't fucking been extinguished. The passion hasn't died. No,
like, you know what though? I mean, she bettered me, because when I started the podcast, she was as hardcore into Groban as I was to the Devils.
Wait.
She beat me. She bested me. Because I grew out of love with the Devils, you know, and I don't follow it in any way, shape, or form like I used to. You're almost better than me. I never thought I'd say that.
Me too. I never thought I'd hear it. And what a weird situation for to come to this realization.
She's more passionate than I am.
Yeah, she is. Or more obsessive.
Yeah. You're telling me there's no other artist that gets in that fucking playlist? Like when on the shuffle, there's no other artist still?
Not that I'm aware of.
Wow. That's mental, though, also. I also
you
think
shouldn't feel bad.
Yeah, that's a mental health.
That's out there, man.
You haven't found one other artist to listen to in 11 years?
It's from complimentary to like, she's got something wrong. She should be institutionalized.
Her and Cuba in a rubber room.
So tell mom how much you love her and make sure she hears a crystal clear audio quality with Raycon. Go to buyraycon.com/TESD to get 15% off your Mother's Day order. That's buyraycon.com/TESD. Okay, Q.
Yeah.
Now we got a special guest here.
Yeah.
I don't know if you probably can't see him though, right?
Not really, no.
Just gotta move over a
Is
little
that
bit.
camera wide enough?
I can see him enough.
Okay.
Hey, bud.
You recognize him?
No.
Put the pressure on. How did you not know?
That's what I was going to try to do. But our guest blew the joke immediately.
Our guest fucked up. So, what's your name?
Jimmy.
All right, we got Jimmy.
Hi, Jimmy.
Here.
What's up, Q?
And he made one of the most unusual purchases one might make at the TSD Town General Store.
No, what do you buy?
What would you say are the top things, Walt, that that's never going to go?
Oh, God, what he bought, and what he bought.
Right. That's it.
Wow. I mean, the only weird things I can think of is the Lego and the hair.
Well,
One of those is the correct answer.
he's not a Lego fan.
He didn't buy the hair. Why?
Tell him what you bought. Go ahead, explain it to the man whose hair you now own.
Well, it's not the first lock of hair I've bought, actually.
Wait. Wasn't Get Him charging like $2,000 for that? He didn't charge that to him.
You got a better deal than that, right?
No. I thought about haggling, pulling a wall.
No, you did not
What'd
pay.
you spend?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did.
Oh, dude, no, we can't. Come on.
Get him already got him.
No, we can't do that. Why? How are we going to let this man pay that money for the hair? What do you do for a living?
It's America.
Yeah, it's a capitalistic society.
No fucking way. We can't do that. That was priced so nobody would buy it. Oh no! Oh no! What do you do for a living, Jimmy?
I work for the Postal Service.
Oh my God!
Oh, all right, so I'm fine.
Yeah,
Can you get me
Susan?
some pointers off mic about how to deal with the postal
yeah, sure.
employees? Because
We got a lot of Susans.
yeah, you do. Yeah.
Oh
You're still
man!
dealing with Susans?
Yeah.
Oh man.
How do
Well,
we?
you're not happy with this Q, huh?
Well, I just feel. No, because like. I don't feel comfortable taking this man's money. But wait a second.
Well, no. Get him got the money. It's not our money.
No, I know it's for get him for his house fund. But like, how was get him able to part with it? I figured he priced it that high so he wouldn't have to part with it. Did he? You called his bluff?
Yeah, he called his bluff. It was a horrible misplay, if you want to call it a horrible misplay, getting $2,000 or whatever
He's
it
like,
was.
I'm feeling bad about my purchase over here.
I'm honestly shocked nobody bought it sooner. Every time I come in, I'd see it, and I'd say, one of these days I'm going to go.
Are you a collector like Q of the odd and the curious?
A little bit. I have.
Really?
Q, you know Insane Clown Posse. I'm a juggler.
Of course.
I have a lock of Shaggy Two Dope's hair, actually. So your hair is going with his.
So this is a hair collector, Q. Does that make you feel a little bit better?
It's only the second lock I've bought. It'll probably be the last lock of hair I buy.
Collect celebrity hair.
I have a cousin of mine that has a lock of Elvis's hair. I know there's precedence for this sort of thing, but I it's hard for me to value my own hair at $2,000.
Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but Q is clean shaven now, and he has saved the whisker hair if you're interested.
Really?
Sweet discount.
How much are you looking for that, Q?
It's in a sandwich bag as we speak. And someone is driving it down. He had his assistant. He texted her, and she is now on the way with his whisker hair.
I'll sell you pubic hair for $500. Okay, all right. Listen. Wow. Okay, so you bought that today, Jimmy?
Yeah, about an hour ago.
Wow, and have you had any feelings of remorse?
No, I'm quite thrilled with it, actually.
What are your plans for the hair?
Yes, I was going to ask the same exact thing. What are your plans for the display?
I'm going to display it. I might get a case for it. The Two Dope lock has a case. So I'm figuring, this came in a very nice case.
It does,
The Q signed and...
Yeah.
Now, I heard that Gidim also threw in the T-shirts. He doesn't know I heard this, but I heard that motherfucker is definitely paying for those shirts out of that money.
He did.
Wow.
He's trying to throw me a free book, too.
What book?
The Knights.
No.
I told him I'd pay.
You can, yes, but no, you don't have to pay. But he will certainly be paying as I dock him from his paycheck. Give me a tally what he gave you for free, because that shit ain't free for him.
He's giving away the fucking. What makes you? What is it about hair? Because I understand, you like guitars, like you would collect a guitar pick, or like you maybe collect T-shirts.
What is it with you fellows of a certain way that you don't want like Farrah Fawcett's hair, or you don't want Jacqueline Smith, or you don't want Bo Derek,
or all these dead people?
No, all these hot chicks. Like, why do you want like guitarists and rappers and jokers? Like, why don't you want like something, like I said, like some luscious, bodacious hair in that collection? Or are you still? Is it hard to find that caliber of hair?
I never really sought out to collect hair. I just kind of.
You're the hair guy, bro.
I guess I am. I kind of fell into it.
Jimmy the hair guy. You're gonna fucking get that, buy that domain, get that on Twitter.
Jimmy the hair guy. but Jimmy, don't you feel like you're gonna allow people into your home and you're gonna be like, yeah, this is Q from Practical Joker's hair, and they're gonna be. You don't think they're gonna be like, who?
No.
I have a bunch of Q shit hanging around. Not,
I don't want to look crazy.
Yeah, no, not like, personal shit of yours, but like, your action figures, and I have the Chicken Bone Bandit tattoo that you made Matt Rains get. Like,
you have that tattoo?
I do, yeah. Matt Rains saw it, actually.
So are you?
Oh, he told me about you. Matt told me about you. He said he's.
Did he really?
Yeah. Oh, you're the guy. All right. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm a bit of a super fan. I mean,
Where are you from?
Originally Worcester, Massachusetts. Now I'm in Philly.
Okay. What are you in town for?
The Stash Bash.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
But whenever I'm in town, I gotta come see you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And what do you do for the postal office?
I'm a custodian, but I got like 10 years in.
No, that's a great job. My brother did that for a few years.
You gotta be fucking. We didn't give your last name, right?
No.
Okay, because I was gonna make a joke. Like you gotta be taking fucking welfare checks. So like as they come in, other people's and
Social Security.
Yeah, like, you're just taking them as they come in.
Need more hair.
How else am I gonna pay for it?
Jimmy, are you married or you have a girlfriend?
No.
Okay.
No.
How old are you?
33.
When was your last girlfriend?
I get around.
Okay, great. All right, good. All right. Or boyfriend. I don't want to.
No.
Why you think when you find out that he's the hair guy, does that change things if you're a prospective?
No, I don't think
gal?
so. I like I said,
I wouldn't think so either.
I wouldn't think so. I'm just trying to get to know the man. That's all.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
I think people would be impressed.
I would definitely think so. That like your first date, like you go out to dinner, it's like, so what are you into? And you're like, hair.
Well, you don't,
What
don't lead like that, though. You don't have to lead like that weird. Like, you're not getting weird. You're like, what are your hobbies? You know? And you're like, oh, I collect celebrity hair.
So far, I've Shaggy 2 Dope and Q from Impractical Jokers.
I think it'll end there. I hope.
You know what? Maybe Bri will take some snippings before you leave today.
Little beard
That's
snip.
fine. Sure. Throw it in there.
I think. I mean, maybe we should give him the haunted house as well. I don't know. I just feel like
The Lego house?
Yeah. Maybe we should.
Yes, let's give him that.
Yeah.
Away.
Okay. How about that, pal?
I mean, you don't have to do anything more than you guys already have. But
Definitely, man.
No,
you definitely deserve more than some hair, man. That's amazing.
Yeah, I think so.
Life-changing money.
It is.
it is. Yeah, it definitely
Yeah.
is.
Do you
But
want
I don't know.
the haunted house, or is that, or you don't?
Sure.
You don't have.
Yeah,
the
no. I mean, I don't have the room for much of anything because I collect so much bullshit.
What else do you collect?
Action figures, posters, T-shirts, fucking everything. Masks, fucking.
Wow.
I'm a bit of a collector, yeah.
All right. It will make me feel better if you take the Lego house as well. And that I built that. Every single brick I built, that was on me.
Yeah. I'll happily take that.
I have the box for it somewhere. I think here. So what I'll do is we'll get your address. Take the haunted house with you today. I'll get your address. I'll sign the box and write something on the box and we'll ship it down to you because I can't live with the fact that you paid $2,000 for my hair. I can't.
But does it help though that he's got the tattoo and he's got
it does. Yeah.
Insane Clown Posse? That helps feel a little bit like okay, like this is a legitimate collector. This isn't somebody who did it on a is going to regret it tomorrow and with a gun in his mouth being like, what did I do?
I wouldn't be so sure.
Is this the most unusual piece in your collection, the hair?
It may be.
Anything on that level of strange, or unusual?
Unusual?
One of a kind of things?
Like somebody's gallstone or something weird.
No, nothing like that. I have the hat that Ernie Hudson wore on Comic Book Men.
Wow.
Yeah, I have that.
How'd you get that? Did we sell that on eBay?
You must have, because I got it from a fellow aunt.
Okay.
Wow.
That's weird, though. I thought production would have kept that.
I don't remember how. I think maybe they gave them away. I don't remember how, but those got out into the wild.
Oof. Wow, Jimmy, I get it. I get it. I've spent a lot of money on collectibles over the years. It's just odd to find yourself a physical part of your body be that collector item. You know what I mean?
That's got to give you a little bit of a boost, a little bit of you walk on air for a half hour after this podcast's over, right? A little bit. Come on, man.
I don't think so.
Enjoy it. It's cool.
Moments after he'll be cleaning out his gutters again.
Yeah, I'll be outside. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know that I feel that way.
Cleaning out gutters looking for hair that he can pass off as his own.
Squirrel hair. This tail looks like it could have been part of my beard. Stumpy, no! What are you doing up here?
Well, I feel better with him taking the
Yeah.
because that's also hard to get. That's a hard to get Lego set now, so that's good too. So that I feel a little bit better on.
Nice.
Man, fucking get it.
I
But
appreciate it, man.
Yeah, no, thank you, Jerry. I mean, I appreciate
Got to
your.
appear on TSD. Do you listen to TSD?
Regularly, yeah.
Okay.
This is a little bit nerve-wracking for me.
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
You're doing great.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish I
Could
was
have been
there.
better. You couldn't have been better. Absolutely.
Yeah, you really killed it, Jimmy the hair guy. I mean, this is it. I mean, do you guys want to give him some of your hair? Is there any?
I don't have enough to give away, Q. It's every day it's thin, and I'm not. And you know what? I mean, I've seen what he's willing to pay. I'm just not going to give him hair for free.
Yeah. You could
Not
at least
even
get
like-
$24, $25.
Like a single strand for him to mix in with mine? You guys don't want to do that? A piece of Brian's
well-
beard?
Yeah, let's say on Mike we will do that. Who knows if he really even wants it though? That's like, you're on TV 24/7. You're a big deal. I mean, he doesn't want to. He may not want to taint your hair by putting our hair in there.
Those are two major stars, Shaggy, Too Dope, and BQ.
Right. Yes.
I think you guys are devaluing yourselves. Just tell him, Steve Dave. He's at your studio right now, man. He's not a Shaggy Too Dope studio.
Our. True. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. That's awkward. That's like when somebody asks, like, "Hey, do you want me to get in that picture?" When Mike would do that at the stash, that's like you put somebody on. Oh yeah, sure, you can get in there, but maybe they really didn't want him in there.
What do you mean, maybe?
Socks is back.
Well, I
know my dog has been shedding. Would you be interested in maybe a podcaster, a C-list podcaster's dog's hair?
I might draw the line on that one.
Is your collection that extensive?
You might have some all over your pants. So you were petting her today. So you may have gotten that's on the house.
Oh man! So all right, so you paid $1,000 for the Lego and $1,000 for the hair. Let's look at it that way.
Yeah, that's more digestible, right?
That's a little more digestible to me.
Get
Yeah.
that to be on TSD.
Yeah,
It's been a long time since we had a listener on. I can't
this is
remember
true.
last time.
This is true. Yeah,
You could. You know what, dude?
you owe us $1,000.
Since you're close and you have a nickname, you could become the next Frank 5. You could get your own show on Patreon. We'll hook up by email. We'll figure it out. Something. Jimmy the Hair Guy is going to have a life after this. He's not just going to last this one episode and be forgotten.
No.
Jimmy the Hair Guy is going to have.
I think I'll be forgotten.
We'll talk about celebrity hair.
Well, he has tons of collectibles.
Hair content, just maybe a one shot.
Keratone.
Carrot top.
Jimmy the Hair Guy. I love it.
Right? I mean, Frank 5 started from humble beginnings. Look where how huge he became.
Yeah, you're right. Look at Get Him.
Multiple shows on the Patreon.
You can't get rid of Frank 5 anymore.
Yeah, you guys are popular.
You might be the best $1,000 you. How much did you spend?
$2,000.
It might be the best $1,000 you ever spent.
It might be. I mean, Frank 5 became one of your best friends, so maybe Jimmy the Hair Guy is your next guy.
He could be.
Real quick, Frank 5 drove down from where he lives to have lunch with Walt and turn around and drive right back home.
What?
Is that a sign of psychosis or what?
That's an 8-hour drive. Isn't that an 8-hour drive?
I'm concerned about
the
this
rain.
guy. Yeah.
He came down yesterday, went to lunch, and hung out, watched a little Pluto TV, and then he was on his way back home.
Oh, he's deeply unhappy.
Or am I just that damn fucking impressionable and like fun to hang out with?
But can't he just Zoom with you like this? Can't he just?
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
He's got to be in the room. He's got to experience the Flanagan, or else it ain't worth it. It's not the same, he said.
He's like, fuck it.
Oh, I get it. Wow. Wow. 4 hours and 4 hours. Did he bring Mrs. 5? Did he bring Mrs. 5?
No, it was just a boys' night, boys' afternoon out.
Well,
not even a night.
I suspect that's what it was really about.
What's that?
Getting away from the wife for a little boy time.
It could be. Everybody needs a little.
Oh yeah, no,
it sounds a little weird when you say boy time, but
no, I'm the guy that goes to Key West with this guy for boy time.
I just meant the phrase boy time. Like it sounds like we could be monitored by the authorities as we go out looking for boy time. It's not the best phrase.
That's gonna be the name of your new show, Jimmy.
Bullshit, Frank. I don't need to drive 8 hours to go down and talk to some 50-year-old dude. You were looking for boys.
Yeah, it was boy time, wasn't it? You popped out. No, there's no such thing as time. Boy time or otherwise.
This guy is interrogated under a harsh light as no one would believe for a minute that he would drive all the way down to hang out with a friend for 8 hours. For strolling. I know you were. His wife has divorced him.
I was Mary Beth like 99% of the time. Right? If that 1% I was like, yeah, I'm going to go drive 8 hours to have lunch with Frank, she'd be like, you're lying. You're fucking lying.
He wasn't lying.
Oh, man. That sounds nice.
Yeah, it was. It was fun. And we're going on a cruise together. I said, hey, Jimmy, next year, we could be on a cruise together. We absolutely could be on a cruise together. Just me, you, and my family.
I would love that.
Let's do it. I had to explain to my wife that, how did you meet Jimmy? Well, it's a long story.
Yeah. Well, you remember how the last guy threw up on a cake and didn't tell anyone? This guy's not as weird. He just buys people's hair.
Do you know the Insane Clown Posse?
Yeah, how familiar?
Is that a gang in prison, my wife would say?
Woof.
Oh, all right. Well,
Jimmy, a pleasure to meet you. Welcome to the...
Yeah, could, like I said, man, this could be life-changing road for you that you just got on.
Thank you, guys.
You're going to be coming up from Philadelphia to do a show.
Yep.
You have to promise me, though, bud, before... Listen, the condition of you taking that Lego thing is you have to promise you cannot clone me. I do not want to be cloned.
Oh, don't worry. I'm not going to do that.
So 50 years from now, I don't want that hair going into some sort of fucking device that spits out like a little Q clone.
I think you're good, man. I'm not that smart.
I think the closest he's going to come is like fashioning himself like a little hairpiece and then dancing around like Buffalo Bill.
Tell him, Steve Dave.
It appears to be a new Cornet episode.
You're a people person.
Oh, no.
Infinity High Sports Bra.
James Dean.
James Dean. Cornet, you and me. James Dean. Steve Espy Newsies Consigliere. A Q&A podcast with co-host Brian Last. Tell that guy take off the stupid fucking mask. Keep all your outlaw munchos in your shithole bars. Keep all your cosplay wrestlers too. James E. The fans think you're so mean. And when they ask you why, say thank you, fuck you, bye. Keep your jazz hands on my TV screen. He's had enough of Marco stuff, the Bucks and Omega. Run a bunch of fools. Try your wrist lock, hip toss, cut out all your flipping flopping. For fuck's sake, all of you tag teams, learn the fucking rules. James E. James E.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Jim Cornette Experience. It's Derby weekend. And if the Kentucky Derby is the greatest 2 minutes in sports, then Raw is the slowest 3 hours on television, and AEW is the place where old racehorses go to die. Wow. And to join me in talking about all this and more, Hawaiian Brian, the podcasting lion, the king of the Arcadian Vanguard Podcast Network, Mr. Co-host to you. He's living proof that jackasses can't run with racehorses. Be great, Brian Last, everybody.
Aloha, Jim. A pleasure to be here once again, and I've been outrunning all those jackasses for so many years. Thank you for mentioning that here on the top of the show.
I got to mention at the top of the show what you just blurted out of your chicken lips moments before we went on the air. We were commiserating. This is unscheduled. This is a lights out discussion here. You didn't know this was coming. We were discussing and commiserating about our various shitty, soggy, wet, cold, drizzly, rainy weather. Yesterday was Thurby here in Louisville. The Thursday before Derby, Thurby. That's where all the people that actually live here in Louisville go to Churchill Downs. They stay away from the Derby mostly. That's for the tourists. And it was kind of bleh. But today they're calling for storms. It's Kentucky Oaks Day. Strong storms all over the area. Tomorrow it may be dry for Derby. And then it's after barely getting out of the 60s. I said it's going to be 90 here almost for the next few days next week. And you said to me, oh, yesterday was perfect. It's dark today. It's miserable. But yesterday was so nice. 75 degrees. The bugs were out. It was perfect. Are those indeed the words that came out of your mouth?
Those are indeed the words that came out of my mouth, yes. Because the bugs come out on nice, beautiful days.
Well, so does everything else, but I've never heard anybody phrase it like that. The parameters of a nice spring weather day, or if the bugs are out or not. That was the first thing out of your lips.
I know if I have to come up with a strategy to destroy a family of bees, it's probably a nice day. It's probably not a rainy day. It's probably a beautiful day. And I want to lay out there with the fucking bees swarming around.
How are you going to destroy a family of bees? What are you going to plant some kind of fucking incriminating photographs of the Mr. Bee in with the queen and she sees him and divorces him? How are you going to destroy this family?
Oh, come on. That's all Hollywood. No, I wouldn't do anything like that. I would just smash him with a shovel, which is what I did. Which is what I did. It became a fun thing. You hold the shovel real, up close, open grip, kind of like Ty Cobb, and you just swat them out of the fucking sky as hard as you can.
Individually.
It's hard to get them all bunched together.
Yeah, it would be.
That'd be like the Sadaharu O of bee killing.
Well, first of all, what kind of shovel you got that you can swing a shovel at a fucking lighter than air bee and he can't evade that fucking... You don't have a man shovel then.
I absolutely do. I just happen to have a man's arms too, and I could swing them real good and real fast and real strongly. To quote Donald Trump, real strongly, I can kill these bees.
Did you ever consider, you blithering simpleton, that while you're taking this blunderbuss to one innocent, lonely bee, that there's 100 or 1,000 or however many other bees that there are in the hive, the colony, the congregation?
Oh, yeah, the thing the exterminator takes care of.
They're coming at you from behind.
No, that's what the exterminator takes care of. When I say, Suzanne, call the exterminator... In the meantime, I got to take care of some of this right now because I want to sit down and enjoy the sun because it's going to suck tomorrow, and it ended up sucking tomorrow. I was correct.
Again, how is that an appropriate... You're an executive, a graduate of a major university.
Well, no, that's not true.
A king of podcasting.
Well, that's true.
At least I hit one of them. And you think the best use of your time and energy and manly arms... is out there swinging a shovel at bees on an individual basis.
I don't think that's the best use of my time, and I never said that. However, it is a fun exercise if you're out there. You're trying to enjoy the sun, you have no shirt on, there are bees.
Go to the other side of the yard.
It just so happens that there's shovels over there. What if I just start knocking them? How far can you hit a bee if they're in flight coming at you and you hit it? Can you get it to go 100 feet?
No, you can't.
Well, you can't because you don't have manly arms. I got these big manly arms. I can swing these bees all over the place.
Here's the thing. A bee is lighter than air to begin with. So if you're hitting this fucking bee, even if you've knocked him senseless, and even if he's not going to go 100 feet because wind resistance, especially on a blustery day, is going to probably blow the carcass back at you, and then you'll have...
As I said,
bee all over you.
A perfect day, no bluster.
No bluster.
No
just
bluster.
Plenty of bugs and bees.
You know what it sounds like when a bee hits a shovel?
What? You know what the first thing
And
is?
you can feel it. You feel the little vibration in your fingers. It's
God damn
it's
it.
kind of neat.
You feel a vibration in your manly arms from a bee.
I feel the vibration.
You know what the first thing it is that goes through a bug's mind when he hits the windshield of a car?
What's that?
His ass.
There you go. Thank you.
How are you fixed for snakes now? Is it going to be good weather enough for the snakes to come out here shortly?
Again, I think that falls under the exterminator's auspices. I just handle the day-to-day operations.
Now you need to take a shovel to a snake.
What do you do? How would you handle a snake? Have you handled the snake? And how?
I have handled a couple of snakes, not big ones.
House snakes, not Jake the snakes.
Not like, but just the snakes that you might find, especially in the old days, wandering around out here in the suburbs. I've taken a shovel to a couple of snakes, and one, believe it or not, actually you will believe this, and you'll have a smart-ass remark to make. The closest encounter I ever had with a snake coming into my home was in Connecticut.
Bruce?
No, I never invited him. But no, I came home one day and pulled in the garage and hit the garage door closer gimmick, and the garage door goes down. And then I go in the house, and I come back about an hour later because I think I need to get something out of the car, a trunk, whatever the case. And I said, well, what? Well, my weather stripping on the bottom of my garage door has gone sideways, has come off or whatever. I see this strip there, and as I get a little closer to it, like I'm going to bend down and pull it up or whatever, I've closed the garage door on a snake. And the snake starts wiggling. That's how I knew it wasn't the insulation or whatever. And well, fuck you. And I found me a shovel, and pretty soon there was a snake in two pieces.
If you say it in a gruffled voice, it sounds like a Jake promo.
And then you put the garage door on a snake and you cut me in half. But you need a shovel to finish me off.
Yeah, well, I needed a shovel to pry him out of my car when I used to have to drive him around up there because he had no driver's license. But how did we get on the snow, the snakes? Your weather forecasting or the platitudes you use to describe a good day. So if the bugs are out, folks, it's a great day in the neighborhood for the last family. What's your stance on leeches?
We haven't had a problem with leeches ever.
In months, right?
Well, ever. I don't think we've ever had a problem with leeches. I mean, you talking in a corporate level, or are you talking about outside on the grounds?
I'm talking about the ones that suck your blood. I gotta narrow it down even more. I'm talking about the ones that attach themselves to. Well, talking about the slimy one. Oh, never mind. You know what? I got busy over the weekend. Actually, this is the end of the week. I got busy over the week. What day is this? I know. This is my show. They're all the same when you have my life. You record, watch wrestling, sign action figures. But I did something over the past couple of days since I talked to you last on the drive-thru, your fine program. I actually did something else besides those things to try to get some space here in the house and clean up the vault a little bit. I mentioned a few weeks ago we had the electrician come in, fix the attic exhaust fans. It's going on summertime. The motors on the old ones had burned out. Needed to get those replaced. Got to do that. I had to move a bunch of stuff out of one of the attics in particular. And I finally decided, Brian, it can possibly be, I can be described as obsessive about some things. That's some people say this, right? I don't know if I agree with it, but like my record keeping or documentation or parameters I live my life by, whatever the case may be. Well, they say you're a financial wizard. They say you're only supposed to keep your financial records in case of any sideways hey rube with the IRS for 7 years, right?
That's what they say, but of course you're allowed to keep them as long as you want.
Well, but I'm talking about, the actual receipts and blah, blah, blah. You're allowed to keep them. I had the past 17 years in the attic. And I decided, you know what? And also, besides that, but see, I'm not talking about just, the regular stuff you turn into the government and stuff you turn into the accountant. I'm talking about the raw material. I'm talking about everything.
Sounds like you're building up a product for Cornette's Collectibles.
Yeah, well, no.
We don't just have the tax returns. I'm talking about the raw materials.
Yeah, I'm talking about, see, here's the thing. For the past 3 decades or whatever it's been, anytime I spend more than $5, I either get a receipt or write it down or both. And anytime I take in any amount of money, I write it down, obviously. But all those receipts, they're not necessarily all tax deductible, right? I have every electric bill I've paid, every water bill, every time that I've had the pest control people over, every piece of paper that I get through the course of the year, I put in separate files by, obviously, genre, like electric bill, phone bill, this and that and the other thing. And then at the end of each month, I write everything down in a book. Here's everything I spent, personal, business. Here's everything I took in. Then at the end of every quarter, I type that up into another file that I send to my accountants. And at the end of the year, I do the grand overview. And then also I did have, which this may be excessive, a piece of paper with every individual merchandise order that's come into Cornette's Collectibles in the past 13 years. That alone amounted to about 400 pounds of paper. I say, maybe I've got some duplication going on here because I also have every tax return that I've ever filed with the government for the past 40 years filed away year by year. And I've got those monthly and yearly books, and I've got those quarterly reports and those annual summaries. So I think I can get rid of my Wendy's receipts from when I used to go to TNA in 2007, right? So I've systematically begun a purge of this. And now I've alleviated, I would say, 500 or 600 pounds of stress on my attic floor that's right over my head. So if all my I'd be the only person in the world to be killed by a cave-in of my financial records.
What a way to go.
Do you think I'm excessive in this? It's all by hand. I don't know how to do the computer spreadsheet type of thing. But one of these days, somebody can do a forensic examination after I'm gone and determine how much money I've spent at Wendy's over the past 30 years.
Well, you'll find out more things like that at the Jim Cornette Library after it's open.
Where will we put the Cornette Library?
Well, that's up to you. I mean, usually the president decides where the presidential library will go. I guess it's based on where you can get some real estate, if I had to guess.
Well, I've got some right here. You think I can get the government to buy the castle after I'm gone and turn it into a shrine?
Well, actually, if you really think about it, considering when your house was built, the fact that it's an original house and it's still there, even with some renovations, it probably could, and some would argue based on wrestling importance, should be declared a national, I don't know about monument, but a historical site that can be protected.
Yes!
And then you can turn it into the Cornette Museum.
Well, there you see.
And everyone can look, but no one can touch.
Exactly. We'll put a glass dome over it, and we'll just have people walk around it in circles and point.
When I was a kid, one of the coolest things, it's cooler in retrospect, sometimes, I don't know, it was a hot day and there was no AC. But in camp, they would take us at least once a summer to Teddy Roosevelt's home on Long Island, Sagamore Hill. And it was kept exactly as it was when Teddy Roosevelt lived there while he was president. And it was awesome. You just wanted to sit down, but you couldn't. And you had to touch all these things, and you couldn't do anything. And then they let you sit in a room and watch a film about them. And then they put you back on a bus, and you realize their gift shop had no candy. Like I said, in retrospect, it was really cool being there, but
yeah,
I probably enjoy it a lot more now.
Sounds like the boys' ziplining adventure on South Park.
It had giant animal heads everywhere. I was like, wow, this really is Teddy Roosevelt's everywhere you turn, a giant bear is coming at you, or it's on the rug, or there's a deer head.
What about those mongoose?
Well, I didn't know. I don't know if they had those there.
They have that is the plural of mongoose, right? The mongoose?
I don't know if he had a mongoose or multiple I guess it would just be, or mongoose, not multiple mongoose, just mongoose itself is multiple.
Yeah, that would be redundant. Redundancy repeated redundantly.
So this is a really interesting episode we've had so far.
Moving on, and by the way, I mentioned signing action figures. Folks, another 150 boxes of action figures passed off to the fabulous Feather Bottoms yesterday, and I believe we are on a pace, as long as nothing bad happens to me, keep your fingers crossed, folks, that by the first week of June, everything that was purchased during Action Figure Armageddon will be signed and shipped to the fine customers at Cornette's Collectibles. Of course, if you're ordering non-figure related stuff, T-shirts and autographed pictures and everything, the Feather Bottoms Ultra Careful Handling System, FUCK for short, will take care of you. You don't even have to wait now, thanks to their speedy assembly system, for me to get through all the figures. But again, the people who have ordered one of the Bloody Variant and one of the Commentator playset, we're addressing you fine folks now. The first ones have started going out, and those should be out over the next 10 to 14 days. And by the way, there still are a few Commentator playsets available. Order now at JimCornette.com. There is my commercial announcement.
All right, and you endorse this message.
Can you endorse this message, please?
Can I endorse it?
Yes, go ahead and endorse this message.
If I'm endorsing the message, I'm endorsing the Feather Bottoms?
Well, then you can endorse anything you want. Just endorse it. Just say, I endorse that.
I endorse elements of that, but I'm not going to clarify exactly which elements they are at this time. No, you're going to comment.
Pick it apart later.
That's
Pick
right.
it apart later. Speaking of picking things apart, before we get into the entertainment portion of our programming, nobody's entertained by this. You know, I hate to be right. I always say that. I hate to be right. I hate to say I told you so. But it happens so often, you would think more people would start listening to me at this juncture. You heard about what the Supreme Court's trying to pull on us? And a lot of people have asked me if and yes, not on YouTube, but on the podcast here, if I would address that. Because I've already addressed it. I warned everybody. I told you exactly what, and it's not like I'm the genius that thought of this or realized this or has seen this coming, because a lot of other people have too. I'm just talking about my particular audience. I warned you. Other people have warned. Everybody's been warned. The Supreme Court is now trying to fuck up everybody's abortion rights. Settled science over the past 50 years, settled law, settled science. To me, that's the problem with it, is it's related to science, and they don't like that. Because republicanism is where religious fanatics and conspiracy theorists unite to hate science together. The news came out for the international listeners who continue to be bumfuzzled and amazed at the Americans. It was a leaked document this past week that has basically told the world that the Supreme Court is already has decided and is probably going to announce sometime in the next couple of months, when they get the gumption now, that they're going to overturn Roe versus Wade and make abortion once again either it's going to be effectively illegal in 20-something states because of the backward Republican administrations of those states, and it's going to fuck up everybody in the country. And they thought they were going to slip it by before anybody knew it was coming. So some well-thinking, well-meaning person has leaked this, which never happens, out of Supreme Court, because they knew the people were going to be fucking outraged, and maybe something can be done, but who knows? It'll probably come to pass. And, of course, the Republicans are not mad at the decision. They're mad at the leak. Because they didn't want all this, you're going to do what? Before it had already happened. They thought they could slide it by. Because I think the last poll that they took was 70% of Americans are happy with everything just the way it is. or would like more access to abortion for some people in some parts of this country that are still back in the dark ages and don't understand scientific medical procedures and think God's going to be mad at them. So in some cases it needs to be expanded because a lot of people in certain parts of the country don't have easy access that they can afford. They can't take days off work, travel hundreds of miles. But you don't have to worry about that anymore. This is not even Trump's fault. Trump was a useful idiot. That's why they covered for him. That's why they put up with all that shit, because they've had a 50-year plan. Trump had no ideology except whatever calmed the suckers and the rubes and kept him in office. So the Republicans used him to appoint the inexperienced, unqualified, incompetent judges to vote the way that they wanted when shit like this would come up, so that the minority could rule, because the minority would be making the laws. So they covered for all of Trump's other shit. Meanwhile, he was appointing people that were going to lie for him and try to keep him in office, he thought. But that didn't work out for him, but it's worked out for them because they were smarter than he is. He was their fucking hand puppet, and they had their hand firmly up his fucking ass. So now, these people are, as I've mentioned before, are in control and making laws that all of us have to live by based on their delusional beliefs of an invisible supreme being and what he'd be pissed about. Because I know that there's people that, oh, I'm against abortion for this reason or that reason or what. It all comes down to God and what God wants. That's why the religious groups and the right-wing conservative fanatical groups are the only ones that are violently protesting this business, because they share a common gullibility. Can you imagine in the year 2022 telling people you've got to have children that you don't want and can't pay for or take care of because I believe that you have pissed off my imaginary friend? They say they're pro-life. These are the people that believe that everybody should have as many guns as they want, so that this country has as many shootings per year as every other civilized country in the world put together plus more. So that means you can kill all the current real existing human beings you want, but the potential human beings that after 6 weeks are still a science project, we've got to protect them at the cost of their parents and the rest of their families and society at large. And then they say don't get pregnant. But if you notice, the Catholics and the other really fanatical religions are against birth control too. So what? So you're coming or going to make it funny? They got you coming or going. No birth control, but no abortions. They don't like science of birth control, but they'll take the antibiotics if they've got goddamn pneumonia. And there's the nutcases that think that God wants them to have as many kids as possible, so they get reality TV shows. There's 18 or 20 of them, and counting or whatever. Those people also apparently have inappropriate relationships in those big old families. That's what you hear in the news, because they're teaching these kids fucked up shit about what kind of sex God wants them to have and whether they should admit it or not. Most time it's no. Because the religious people that are also perverts, they're conflicted. They can't just be regular perverts and go out and find other consenting adult perverts and do perverted things. They gotta be fucking quiet about it and keep it in the family, because God will be upset at them. So who's next here? Now that we get rid of abortion rights, contraception, medical treatment for all these women, they're already talking about gay marriage. And they're mad at the gay people specifically, even more than the people that have the abortions, even though nobody has fewer abortions than gay people. But the marriage, oh, God doesn't like Adam and Steve or whatever the fuck is on the banner when they have the churches go out and protest people that are just hanging around doing their shit. Has nothing to do with these churches. Because I bet you most of these gay people don't go to those churches. But they got to stick their nose in. If God doesn't approve of gay marriage, that's fine. Because most of the people that want to get married, if they're gay, don't care whether he approves or not. But if the Supreme Court says you can't get married if you're gay, then that fucks up actual people's lives with the inheritance laws and the spousal health decisions and all that shit that actual marriage gives you legal right to, that otherwise you get fucked around over. They don't want gay people to have those rights either, because they don't want gay people. Because they think that if a fucking gay man prays long enough, he'll start being attracted to tits. Because they're idiots. And they think that an invisible commander formed people in his own image instead of it being a chemical fucking makeup that is different for many people. So if you're gay and you're married, you're fucked next. They think you're horrible people. And what about, Brian, medical marijuana and or just legal marijuana? How many states now?
Well, I don't know how many, but it's sweeping the nation.
Better than half, one or the other. Well, that's fucked too. You know why? Because marijuana is a plant that you can grow. You can stick a seed in the ground. I know it's a little more complicated than this, but you get my drift. Any numbnuts can grow a plant. But so that shit has to be illegal. Because the Republicans are anti-drug unless it's something that keeps you alive or you can get addicted to, and then they make sure that it costs thousands of dollars. Because nobody gets health care if it's up to the Republicans. We've established that already. They're just taking away some of the shit that you actually have access to and you still have to pay for. So, boom. If you want to be addicted to opioids or you need cancer drugs, they'll be glad to charge you thousands of dollars, but only bad people smoke marijuana, according to, what is his name, Ernest T. Bass down there in, oh goddamn, little P-head, Jeff Sessions. Old P-head. Now after that, now the party of rights, they're going to take away abortion rights. They're going to take away gay marriage rights. They're going to take away the right to be gay. They're going to take away the right to have medical marijuana or legalized marijuana, depending on where you are. After that, fuck your voting rights, because they've already been doing this. They don't want you to vote if you won't vote for them. If you're poor or black or a Democrat or now a woman, since they'll alienate all of them except for the fucking goofy Fox News Stepford wife types like Marjorie Treason Green and the rest of those blank-eyed, soulless, blood-sucking twats. So all of those people that they can gerrymander out of voting for common sense, that you're fucked too. But when they do lose elections, they just say that it was rigged and try to get the officials that they put in place to agree with them, and it almost worked last January. Maybe next time they try it will. Who else is fucked coming up? Immigrants from anywhere, right? I would rather have a fucking Mexican family of 4 with jobs and trying to stay under the radar, whether they got paperwork or not, than a bunch of right-wing gun-collecting conspiracy theorists from Alabama storming the Capitol. So let's bring in more of the fucking Dominicans and deport the fucking QAnons from Missouri. Just make an even swap. Because they're the dangerous ones. The ones we already got here. So, now that they have accomplished their mission and they've got control of the Supreme Court, you're fucked. Everybody listening to me is going to be fucked around in some kind of way. Nothing's going to be done on climate change, so you better not have kids because they won't have air or water. Because these morons are so wrapped up in the price of gas, they can't understand that We'll get past that. It was $4 a gallon fucking 20 years ago. But you know this air and water thing? We kind of need the rest of that. Fucking morons. And while I'm on it, everybody on Twitter, well, what do you think about your boy Biden now with the gas prices? I think same thing I did before. The President of the United States doesn't have anything to do with the fucking gas prices, you idiots. Then why is the fucking price of gas in goddamn Australia through the roof? Is it a worldwide plot to not make Biden look bad? God damn it. They're more scared of non-existent marauding hordes of immigrants storming the border and gay people in their bathrooms than melting the planet and having criminals and religious fanatics running the fucking country. And you cannot reason with people that refuse to engage with reality. I've said this many times, so you've been overly warned on what the fucking elected Republican officials are trying and succeeding to do. So if they don't all get voted out, don't blame me, it's your fucking fault. I'm trying to do my part. Vote against them and call attention to them. So, if you're a woman, you're fucked. If you're gay and married, black, poor, a boyfriend or husband of a woman that doesn't want kids, an immigrant, a Democrat, an unwanted child not real overjoyed about the fact that he was born into the situation that he is currently in. Salutations. If you're a normal person, you're all fucked. So congratulations, Republicans, conservatives, and assholes. It's all the same thing.
Hey, can I ask you a question about this?
Please do.
Beyond everything you just said, to the actual story here, what do you think about the idea it was a leak? Who do you think leaked it? I'm not asking you to guess the person, but what do you think the motive was for the leak?
Well, I don't know the small circle, I would imagine, of people that have access to that kind of paperwork, so I can't speculate on who it was that leaked it, but I guarantee you it was leaked to show people, hey, they're fixing to fuck with you all in a major way, and this is ridiculous, and this is what they've been plotting and planning. That's why they fucking denied Obama's last Supreme Court pick when he had a year left in office, and that's why they jammed fucking President Pig Shits down our throat with that goddamn, as they described her at the time, a religious fanatic. Amy Comey Barrett. Comey, whoever the fuck. I mean, she looked like a goddamn picture of one of those blank-eyed religious women that wears the fucking, what am I thinking, the Amish. She looked like she could be Amish, for fuck's sake. This is modern society. People don't think like that anymore. They've stacked the fucking deck against normal America. And that's, we're still recovering, like the rest of everybody in the world, from a pandemic that's killed millions of people and is still here. There's worldwide inflation and price hikes and supply issues as a result of that in every country. Russia is still fucking with Ukraine, which has exacerbated everything, especially the oil prices. And no, of course, Putin wasn't going to fucking invade Ukraine while his cockholster was running this country. He didn't want to make Donnie look bad, but he sure wants to make Biden look bad, and enough of the suckers here believe it. But now that's exacerbated the situation. In this country, there's sick kids, there's no health care, there's homeless people, the most ridiculous gun problem in the world, and by the admission of every stooge around him that's been called to testify under oath, the last leader of the Republican Party tried to overthrow the fucking government. But these assholes think now the thing to do is to fuck over half the U.S. population and take away their right to decide whether they have kids or not. No. So I leave you with this question. People, the people, what rights does the party of rights try to protect that do not involve guns or God? What right do you have that does not stem from one of those two things in the eyes of the Republican Party. Because I can't find any other ones. Can you think, Brian?
I mean, the problem is the term conservative has now been adopted by people who really aren't doing a lot of conservative things.
No, Mitt Romney looks like a normal one now. Remember when they were all like him, just white nerds? But now they're fanatics.
It was the party of business. It was the party of business. That was the reason my grandfather liked Nixon. It wasn't because he liked scumbags. It's because business did good. And the Republicans were the business party, and then it became a very different thing. And what I want to see is if this is going to actually motivate people to vote in the midterm elections. Is that why this came out now? To get people motivated right now? So that'll be the real interesting thing.
Yes, I mean, that had to be the motive to begin with. Hey, folks, what we've been talking about and warning you about is actually coming to pass. If this doesn't scare you to get out and do something, then nothing will. So to the patriotic American and decent human being that leaked it, wait a minute. Because you know they're going to try to fuck with him because they fuck with everybody that tries to stooge him off when they're doing backhanded, underhanded shit. So they'll fuck with this guy too, but just like Vindman, just like the people that stooged on Donnie Dip shit, but they're heroes and history will note them as such, even if there's nothing we can do about whatever the fuck's going to go on here. But again, maybe the Democrats can break the filibuster rule and get something passed real quick, codified as they say, but who knows? Because they
won't, because they're pussies.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The Democrats dick around and try to do everything nice and everything legal and everything fair, and they're hopelessly outclassed by the cheaters, liars, and crooks. Because the cheaters, liars, and crooks are so much better at all that shit than the Democrats are. Anyway.
You're a people person, always looking to help others. Going above it.
Hey, Jim, you told me earlier you had an email from one of our listeners.
Well, there you go. Funny how that comes up right about now. This is from William. And this is what we were talking about earlier, and on one of the last, as a matter of fact, he says, Dear Jim, and also Brian, if you read this to him. See, he didn't want your feelings to be hurt.
Like it's a bedtime story. If you read it to me. Yes, thank you.
Yeah. I just finished listening to the latest episode of The Experience, and I'm excited about the FUCH services that you're now offering. That's from once again, the Featherbottoms Ultra Careful Handling System. And it reminded me of something that happened to me. I'm in Evansville, Indiana, and we have a street named Fuquay Road. And I've been to Evansville, so I've seen this, but it's Fuquay, Fuquay, right?
Okay.
One day I was out with my mother looking for an address in a part of town that neither one of us was very familiar with, so we decided to put the address in our GPS system to have it guide us to our destination. This is the kind of GPS that has a computer read off the directions to me so I don't have to take my eyes off the road. When it came time for us to turn onto Fuquay Road, the GPS computer didn't really know how to pronounce it, so it took its best guess and told us to turn right on Fuck You Way Road. Neither one of us could believe what we heard, and I even purposely went off course so I could make the GPS tell us again to turn around and get back onto Fuck You Way Road, which is how we pronounce it now. Thank you for your time. If you're in Evansville, it's now Fuck You Way Road. That'll spread like wildfire.
I thought you said it had something to do with the Featherbottoms.
Well, it was pronunciations we were talking about.
Okay.
I've clearly read that to you. It made perfect sense to me.
All right.
Nice sip of Sprite. All right, then. Well, what do we hear?
Fuquay.
This big Fuquay, or Fuck You Way. The big news. There's going to be a new wrestling promotion started. A new promotion on the horizon. The man behind it, the son of Chico and the Man, Freddie Prinze Jr. One of my favorite, this is the biggest fucking mind-blowing thing to me, is that I loved Chico and the Man when I was 10 years old, Freddie Prinze, Jack Albertson, The Garage, the whole 9 yards. He was the hottest stand-up comic on the Tonight Show.
Union too.
Blah, blah, blah. You saw him everywhere. Even before that was right the same year I started watching wrestling. If you had come into my home, Brian Last, 50 years ago, if you'd come into my home 50 years ago, some would have been wrong because you're not that old.
I'd be in my time machine.
Time machine. If you'd have come into my home and said, hey, that guy that you are watching on network television, I think it was CBS, every week on this television show, you're going to get into the wrestling business, and 50 years from now, that guy's son is going to start a wrestling promotion, and he's going to make the announcement, and he's going to say one of the things that he's been doing to get ready to launch this wrestling promotion is listening to your podcast as preparation. And then I would have said, my 10-year-old self, what's a podcast? Because there was no such a thing.
But what do you think would have been more outrageous for someone to say, there, Chico, on Chico and the Man, his son one day will name check you when talking about getting into wrestling, or the idea that, hey, that guy that fixed your bumper in Chicago, he's going to be a billionaire, and his son is going to quote you and start a wrestling company. What's more ridiculous?
I'm still going to go with Chico and the Man, because Chico, don't get discouraged. The man, he ain't so hard to understand.
I always thought it would have been Buddy Hackett Jr. to get into wrestling, or maybe Don Rickles Jr. I had no idea it would have been Freddie Prinze.
You know, Alan Hale Jr. wouldn't have been bad in the wrestling business. He was a big, beefy fellow. But no, so I guess now we might have run off and left some of the listeners. But apparently Freddie Prinze Jr., who, as we've talked about here when it's come up on the program, and as a lot of people know, apparently was a writer for the WWE for some period of time and is now, I think, doing a podcast telling his stories or whatever. And he announced he's going to start a wrestling promotion. And not only that, but it's going to, did he say the wrestlers are going to have health insurance? We're hearing this again. Usually it's some secretive billionaire that's going to give the health insurance out. And then did Tony Khan ever say that? He's not. He's a billionaire, but not so secretive.
I don't think Tony ever said it, but I think
just the EVPs got it because they're employees.
It actually may have been just Cody that ever alluded to it. I don't even know if the other ones ever did in interviews, but Cody did, I think, publicly in interviews alluded to the idea there would be benefits for wrestlers.
You're a baseball fan. Is there a Wilpon or Wilton family?
Oh, I hate the fucking Wilpons. Yeah, they used to own the Mets. They fucking suck.
Okay, well, there was the story going around at somebody, this was maybe 7 or 8 years ago, and several.
No, it was longer. It was right before Bernie Madoff. That's when it was. It was before
Bernie Madoff with the money. Okay, well, then 10 years ago, whatever it was, that there was somebody connected with them that was going to start a wrestling promotion and give health insurance and benefits and 401ks, and several members of the wrestling fraternity, veterans, if you will, who you wouldn't think would have bit on that worm, swallowed the whole goddamn hook for a while, but then that, obviously, I mean, it was ridiculous on the face of it. With Freddie Prinze Jr., he's not a billionaire, so I can't think that he's going to attempt to start, he wouldn't say this if he wasn't planning to do something. He's not a billionaire, so he's not going to be attempting to or possibly have the reach or the contacts to do something the size of what Tony Khan has done. But it was a tickle that one of the things he said that he was doing to prep for creating this was listening to our shows but that's, I mean, you know, where else these days you're going to get an education in wrestling? So I guess that's not too off kilter. But what, I mean, I don't know this guy. I've never met him. But like I said, he's not a billionaire. If he's in the show business world, but
it's going to have them all sign into the SAG union.
Still weren't able to pull something like this off. So what are the chances? And what conceivably could this be?
I don't know.
Well, why not? Why don't you know, Brian? I asked you a question. It's your job to answer it.
Well, it's your show. I can say that
I asked the question.
I've always heard that he's a really nice guy, and he always comes across like a really nice guy. And the idea that he's listening to this show, I'm sure he doesn't agree with everything, but maybe he's listening to pick up on some of the things that you say that are, some of the greatest observations about professional wrestling you could learn from. But I've also heard him do interviews in the past where he talks about his time in WWE, and there's a lot of stuff I think he has liked or been a part of that he's justified, and it's this kind of stuff we don't necessarily like. So when you hear him say he listens to the show, and one of the things he said he wanted for his potential promotion were storylines based in reality, and we could discuss that, it's promising. And I've said we need another alternative to AEW and WWE because we need something that's just completely serious. There's no reason. I watch baseball. They don't just break into goofy comedy in the middle of the game. There's no reason it can't be a wrestling product like that. Question becomes, he already said he doesn't want to book it. Who are you going to get to be the booker? Who are you going to get to be the executives? Who are you going to get to be your talent? That's where it becomes a problem, because you could have all these ideas of things you want to do, and it sounds like he is thinking the way we would. What we think is the right direction. It sounds like he is at least alluding to that. But who are you going to get to put in there? Because I think part of the problem is you can't keep recycling the same old boobs who just look for anyone with money and they start salivating in wrestling, and that's the problem.
Well, and quite honestly, there aren't enough people that you described that are qualified and experienced to go around already to the companies that exist that are paying money that are already up and running. And so there's not like there's a lot left over. I continue to be amazed, and then when I think about it, know that nobody has hired Delirious, Hunter Johnston, in creative or television production. He's only done it for the last 10 or 12 years straight, but then I'm not amazed because he's overqualified and would probably, it'd be like, bringing in an astrophysicist to fucking tune up your goddamn motor.
But wrestling, I always say this, that AEW was a lost opportunity to develop wrestling executives, and the problem is just the whole structure there, for good or for bad. It's not really a structure for that right now, but
none of the people getting experience as executives or people in production at AEW are going to go on and become future executives and production people in other companies. The Hardleys, Twinkle Toes,
right?
QT, he's fairly been a disappointment from what I've heard. So
I have Jim a list here of some of the things that apparently Freddie Prinze, I guess he said this on a show because I'm reading quotes here.
Okay, well I know nothing about his mindset other than this initial announcement that I heard. So anything to narrow down, because the one thing that worries me is when people say they want reality-based angles or presentation storylines.
Yeah, storylines.
Whose reality? That's the same thing Shitstain said. And there is no reality anywhere on this planet or any other alternate universes that was like Shitstain's version of reality. So when I hear reality, the concept, yes, but the execution often is what?
Yeah, and the other thing is reality is the way wrestling traditionally was. And I'm not saying it has to be like old school, but traditionally it was shot the way sports were shot. This is the arena. This is where it happens. If there's a confrontation, it's happening out here, and they're arguing about something. That's reality-based. When all of a sudden it's, we got to get a camera in the back. Someone's being run over, and they're being dragged. And then the spacemen are landing. Like, that's not reality-based, and that's what I worry about. But here's some of the things that Freddie Prinze apparently said he wants from his wrestling promotion. He wants a 2-hour show. He wants storylines based in reality. He wants men and women to be given equal time. He wants to own the space it's filmed in. And he wants to be a SAG show. Of course, SAG being the Screen Actors Guild.
Well, starting with the last first, the easy one, he wants to own the place where it's filmed. That's the Davis Arena OVW concept, or any of the other
Arena Mexico.
Arena Mexico, yeah, in that form, that big a place. I don't think he's looking at building an 18,000 seat arena.
Of course not, but in lean times, you don't have to worry about where you're going to run a show.
Right. And that's why so many of independents have modified their places. I mean, TNA shot at Universal Studios. They had a sound stage, but they didn't own it, and they were at the mercy of ridiculous rent, especially toward the end. So, yes, a great idea to own your space where you're shooting in, and that's where you build your fan base and, you know, pick the town carefully, make sure it can support live wrestling. What was the last note?
He wants the promotion or the show, I guess, to be a Screen Actors
SAG.
Guild show, SAG.
This will be interesting because then what differentiates his wrestling from the WWE's wrestling? Except probably for budget. How would that will be very interesting to see if he not only allows it but courts it, but insists on it. And that sheds a light with this union on what these other companies are doing. See where I'm going with this? That is the same exact thing, probably with, you know, different wording in the contracts, but the same general genre of sport, entertainment, profession, whatever. Why wouldn't they go after Vince and or Tony Khan and or whatever the case?
It'd be interesting, too, if the show is filmed in New York or Los Angeles. There's a chance the entire production, down to the wrestlers, could all be union. That'll be a first.
But then if you join a union to wrestle for Freddie Prinze, then if the WWE wants to sign you for 5 times the money, but you're in a union, do you still, can you just not be in the union? Because they won't take you if you're in a union.
Well, that's a great question.
Or if they don't take you if you're in a union, then is that some kind of criminal enterprise that they're conducting?
That's a great question, Jim. I think you should consult your union rep on that.
Well, as a matter of fact, who would be the union rep for a business that's never had a union?
Well, it would have to be someone from SAG. Does SAG get one of their own people, or does SAG try to look for wrestling expertise in their union
Well,
reps?
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And who's in SAG that has wrestling expertise? And then is it some nitwit that's done some stunt work and is nobody, and suddenly he's the guy that SAG goes to deal with the fucking Vince McMahon and the WWE and all these other places that, I mean, this could be entertaining.
Even funnier than that, just situations like, listen, they want me to get color. I don't want to get color. Okay, we'll take care of it. By the way, what's color? I mean, that's what we'll end up running into.
And that, again, Vince McMahon and the WWE, and I still say this, I don't know what Tony Khan's finances are, because they said he gets $100 million from the network, but he spent $80 million on a video game, and he's paid these guys a ridiculous amount of money. I don't fucking know, but I know that Vince McMahon and the WWE is financially stable enough to give the guys insurance, pay for them benefits, do more than they do, without having the government tell them to, or an outside union coming in, because we had this talk on the program, and I bet it's out there on the official Jim Cornette YouTube channel. It just passed 294,000 subscribers. But we had this conversation about unionization, that who, in effect, is the union representative, and how in the world would a union work with a business that is completely unique? And one of the things would be, yeah, and need to get some juice when he clocks you with the fucking title belt. And then the union guy comes over and says, you want him to do what? Yeah, he needs to take a razor blade and cut his fucking head slightly so he'll bleed after Junior over there hits him over the head with that 20-pound fucking metal championship belt. Well, that could happen at any point in any wrestling show anywhere in America, but I bet you that would be the first time that any union representative had been faced with that conundrum. So there's going to be a learning process. I think Vince ought to do it with his guys without governmental or independent organization intervention, just because he fucking can and has the money to and can afford it. But for a lot of these other companies, that'd be entertaining, to say the least. But it was just trying to get Sinclair Broadcasting to understand the promotional side of the wrestling business on just a brief basis was hard enough without trying to teach some Hollywood union acting representative, oh, this is the wrestling business. But
one of the other things listed here, of course, was 2-hour show. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I don't. If he can get 2 hours on something that people can watch, well, bless him. If he's got enough wrestlers to fill 2 hours.
See, I see 2 hours is too long. I know everyone now is 2 hours or 3 hours, but to me, it still goes back to an effective show. I don't even think 60 minutes can be done anymore. 90 minutes is an effective show.
But again, I think this is the least thing that we need to worry about right now. What he's saying, I'd like to have a 2-hour show. Well, I'd like to have well, not anymore. I don't have the energy to use it. As good as I'd like to have a 12-inch dick, but fuck. It's then it would just take more time when I'd have to wash it and manscape it and everything before I could show it around.
What?
But you heard me. But the thing is, whether it's an hour, 2 hours, whatever, first he's got to get something on a platform that people will watch. So in his perfect world, in his mind, if he could have a 2-hour show, well, if he got a chance to get an hour on a station that people watch versus 2 hours on C-SPAN, he'd probably take the hour. I'm not worried about that. The only thing that he said in there that concerns me is women and men getting equal time. And then again, you're dooming yourself to excluding talent just to have half and half for no reason, because you're going to find more qualified, talented guys than, and I'm not saying there's a plethora of either. And there's not that many trained fucking dogs, too. Thankfully, the British Bulldogs aren't a team anymore. There's not trained anybody and talented anybody anymore in large numbers. But you're going to find more guys that deserve to be on TV right now than you are girls. So if you're trying to do half and half, then you're excluding some guys who would be better performers just to put some girls on that ain't ready for prime time. AEW is paying a fortune to talent and doesn't give a fuck apparently how many people they sign up, and they still can barely field a women's roster without using the rejects from Twinkle Toes' repertory companies in Japan. So that's the only thing he said there that concerns me.
That concerns me too, and I think it's because it's now become just something everyone's supposed to accept and go with. If you promote wrestling, you have to have women on every show, and I think the high-end women's wrestlers are as good as the top men's wrestlers nowadays. We'll talk about Becky Lynch later, but Becky Lynch is a fucking star. You watch her, you're like, yeah, this is a main eventer. I get it. But almost always,
there's a more dramatic fall off toward the top of the roster.
It's a complete fall off, and usually the person who has the least training or is the least ready for TV that's on TV is going to be someone in one of the women's matches, especially in AEW. It's happened way too many times. Big Swole was on TV a lot. Whatever you want to say, Big Swole wasn't ready for TV. And there's a lot of other people like that. But when all of a sudden we're going to have men and women, it's like people forget that for years wrestling focused on just the men's division. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but that's what it was, and it worked. Maybe there should be a company that just does that, because there aren't enough good women wrestlers to go around. And maybe just give the women their own show. Let's get proof of concept already.
Oh, wait a minute, don't they have that? Wow, right? They're the women of wrestling? They've been talking about it for years. Have they actually fucking shot a show?
The only thing I know about it is I just saw a bunch of stuff that they fell out with Tessa Blanchard, which probably shouldn't be a surprise.
Well, now, or Tessa Blanchard fell out with them. Which came first, the chicken or the egg?
Oh, we've experienced this chicken and this egg several times. I'm pretty sure we know which came first this time. But I think just arbitrarily announcing that, we're going to have men and women, why? What's the actual good reason for that? Just have a men's division. And I think someone should really produce a high-end women's wrestling show. And let's get proof of concept. Let's see what kind of audience it draws on its own and what it'll get. Because the top-end women's wrestlers are really fucking good. And after that, you have to tie yourself to your seat sometimes not to get up and go to the kitchen or go to the bathroom.
Yep.
That's the bathroom break match usually.
Another thing I will point out is that I have no problem with the top-level girls having an athletic contest. And somebody still calls them girls. You know what? Fuck y'all. It's girl wrestling. It's the boys. And it's Moolah's company was Girl Wrestling Enterprises. Every midget that I ever met introduced themselves to me as a midget, so blow me. But
No, but they introduced themselves to you as a midget, not as a midget blow me.
no, I'm just saying for all you people who don't like that I call them midgets, blow me.
Only Lord Littlebrook introduced himself that way, yes.
No, he didn't do that. He was very polite. Where was I going with it? But the point is, I am fully behind the great athletic contest between the top female athletes in our profession. When they start having fights, grudge matches, hardcore, no DQ bullshit, I'm sorry. They can't do it. I can't believe it. I can't watch girls in a fucking Terry Funk and Jerry Lawler fucking no DQ match. It's not believable. And that is, after all, the ultimate goal of any professional wrestling project is to make the people that are watching it lose themselves in it and believe it. And so I love to see Charlotte and fucking Becky and Rhea and Bianca, and the top, and Serena in some cases. The top girls athletically have top quality athletic contest. That's fine. The fucking bullshit with the grudge matches, I'm sorry. Then it becomes two girls fake fighting, and that's just bullshit.
Well, beyond that, like I said, the top-end women wrestlers are phenomenal and is, as you said, a pretty quick drop-off. And it's not enough to justify another promotion having another women's division. You can work in WWE, you can work in NXT, you can work in AEW. I think the NWA has women on their shows. I don't know what the fuck MLW does. I don't know what the fuck any of these other indies do. So now he's going to do it? What pool of talent is he going to pick from? Where's he going to get these talented people ready for TV? To be equal with the men who are ready for TV. Wrestling wasn't always men and women. Wrestling was men wrestling. And now they've introduced another thing and a lot of people accept it, but I think it drove a lot of people off. Quite frankly. I know people don't want to say that and people don't want to admit that, but I think there should be a wrestling option also that just has men's divisions and not women's divisions.
It drove a lot of things drove a lot of people off from wrestling, but that's one of them which contributes to the problem I mentioned, that it's either not fucking badass guys mad at each other trying to pluck their fucking eyeballs out anymore, which is what bloodthirsty people wanted to see in large numbers. It's now an exhibition of entertainment with girls, and that was a significant portion of the audience that wanted to see people that were mad at each other bust each other over the head with shit are not served. And henceforth, they don't want to see it. That's where we lost a lot of people. And the rest of them just because it's just not as good as it used to be. So now with Mr. Prinz, we've got fewer people than ever watching wrestling, but they're watching more wrestling each than ever before. And they're spending more money each on wrestling than ever before, which is the only reason why this thing hasn't completely fallen into the fucking hole, because there are so many more people that used to watch wrestling and don't now than there are that actually do. The people that do have banded together and crowdfunded AEW and done everything to pick up the slack, but we can't keep losing people. And now there's promotion after promotion trying to open and or expand and or operate, but there's no new audience being made. And the ones that we drove away have been driven away so well and for such good reasons that they're not anxious to come back. Except if you gave them what they were seeing until you stopped giving it to them, which was grown adult badass men that they believed hated each other, fucking trying to gouge each other's eyeballs out and kick each other in the balls and generally fucking commit mayhem. That you could believe, not that was made no sense, was totally illogical, was obviously patently phony, requiring cooperation, and perpetrated by guys that looked like you could whip half of them. So there you go. Freddie, did you listen good to that one?
And who are the announcers going to be? That's the other problem. It's going to be another promotion. Here's what I fear. I shouldn't say like it's going to be. I fear it'll be another promotion that starts up with some Michael Cole clone just yelling at you. Because that's the other thing. The tone of wrestling needs to change. It's not just, we need another promotion where they can yell at you and tell you how excited you are to watch this. No, we need a completely different tone of things. And this Freddie Prinze Jr., who was a big enough WWE fan that he ended up working there as a writer. This guy had a film career. He ended up going to WWE to be a writer. That's how big a fan he was of WWE. Is he going to be the person who's going to put all those pieces together, or is this just going to be another NWA, another MLW? I mean, is it even going to get to that point and get off the ground? Will it be a Lucha Underground, filmed on a set for a season, and then that's done? We really don't know too much other than he announces intentions.
Well, you know what? If he needs to listen, and listen closely to these podcasts that we do to get a firm grip on the classic wrestling psychology, then Brian, I've got to think that he needs to block out extraneous drivel and noises and talk that he's going to hear and just focus on what's really important, almost like he's hearing it inside his own head. You see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
I think the best way to do that, Freddie, and if you will send me your mailing address, I will make sure that you get a complimentary pair of the Raycon wireless earbuds.
Will you?
I will absolutely do it for a guy like Freddie Prinze who needs all the help he can get if he's getting in the wrestling business. Because you know the easiest way to make $5 million in the wrestling business, start with $10 million. But folks, if you...
He also said don't call him Junior, call him Freddie K. Prinze.
You doesn't got to call him Freddie K. Why, you could call him Fred, or you could call him Frederick, or you could call him Frederica, but you doesn't got to call him Freddie. But anyway, if you have a mother in your life also, folks, because this weekend is not only the weekend of the Kentucky Derby, it's Mother's Day. So either Saturday or Sunday, bet on your old nag. Folks, personalize your Mother's Day gift or the mother figure in your life or any mother effer you know. Personalize that gift with something they really need. And you know, the moms are still the people that do a lot of the work, right? They need their hands. They need to multitask. Mothers are masters of multitasking. They're burping the kid in one hand and they're feeding the kid in the other hand and they're juggling the puppy dog on their foot. They need to be hands-free with vivid voice technology to take phone calls from you offspring that are calling them to say Happy Mother's Day and borrow money. Raycons are user-friendly for those mothers who are just switching to the wireless earbuds. They're easy to set up and easy to use, and they got the seamless Bluetooth pairing, so your blue-haired old mother with her blue teeth will have earbuds that pair up with them. And then she can wear a brown tie. Plus, they come in a bunch of fun color options, so mother can have colored things sticking out of her ears. Sometimes they're jelly beans. I know that children sometimes like to hide their jelly beans in their mother's ear. Kids, if you're listening, put some jelly beans in your mother's ears the next time they're sleeping.
No. Don't put anything in anyone's ears when they're sleeping or awake.
Well, here's what you can put in somebody's ear, the optimized gel tips. For the perfect in-ear fit, these earbuds are so comfortable they will not budge. Trust me, I'm telling you, I've seen mothers have these in their ear, and they take a belt off the wall and just go to wailing at 6 or 7 of their kids.
No,
things don't fall off.
No, there's no wailing on the kids. Stop.
No wailing on the kids. The kids were certainly wailing. For the mom on the go, these Raycon wireless earbuds, the everydays, they offer 8 hours of playtime and a 32-hour battery life. 32 hours, that's longer than your mother was in labor with you. So the least you can do after you did all that damage to her goddamn innards is to get her earbuds with a longer battery life than your labor took, you little fucking ingrate reprobates. But these Raycon everyday earbuds are priced just right because you get quality audio at half the price of other premium audio brands. And besides that, again, if you're so cheap, this is the only thing that you're thinking about to get your mother. No card, no dinner. At least you can do is get some Raycon everyday earbuds for mom with 49,000 5-star reviews. Tell Mom how much you love her and make sure she hears it in crystal clear audio quality. And believe me, if you get her Raycon wireless earbuds for Mother's Day, she'll get the message. You go to buyraycon.com/JCE. That's BUYRAYCON.com/JCE to get 15% off your Mother's Day order. Even if it's a day or so after Mother's Day, I think this will work. BuyRaycon.com/JCE. Don't make Mom have to take that belt off the wall and go to Wayland.
You're a people person, always looking to help others, going above and beyond to answer all their questions. Check out Wells Fargo.
Sound of footsteps fast approaching him as the guy tackled him on stage at the Hollywood Bowl the other day. Did you see this?
I did. I saw various camera angles from various phones in the crowd.
Well, and there would have been more, but apparently now with the plethora of preponderance, if you will, of the camera phones, they've got now a special gimmick where you go into these shows so you can't record them or whatever. I don't know how it works, but they lock your phone in some kind of way so you can't record, but still people were doing it. But there would have been a ton more if not for that. But it looked just like when the guy tackled Rollins here a while back, or the guy that came in the Hall of Fame ceremony and tackled Bret Hart. Just nobody's looking at that particular moment. There's nothing inflaming anybody. There's nothing, provocative going on where somebody's going to hit the ring and rescue somebody, or Dave Chappelle was not kicking the shit out of anybody on the stage and somebody need to come to the rescue. They just pick a spot where nobody's paying any attention and roll up on the stage or hop over the rail and just run as fast as they can and see what happens. And apparently, who was it? Was it Jamie Foxx that was there also and came out to help? Was that Will Smith?
No, that was Chris Rock that said was that Will Smith. That's what made it. The funny thing, Jamie Foxx came out in a sheriff's hat.
Okay, Jamie Foxx was there, but Chris Rock came out and that had the line. Well, it figures. And then they went back. It was like a wrestling deal. They went back around the curtain to watch people put the boots to the fucking guy before they drug him off. But now, again...
And no one's complaining. No one's like, that poor man. He did not deserve that beating. That's interesting, too. No one's...
Well, no, nobody... Why would anybody say that to begin with?
Because that's one of the reasons they say you can't beat up people anymore. You can't even get a jury that would agree with you that anyone was justified in getting their ass kicked. Everyone agrees this guy was justified in getting his ass kicked.
I stand in firm agreement with that. But now it's becoming a thing, I guess, used to every once in a while you had the streaker at the Super Bowl or whatever, right? Or, Morgana the Kissing Bandit would disrupt the Major League Baseball games or whatever. Maybe when you were a kid, you wanted to see Morgana at your Mets game. But it's not heat. It's not people attacking people because of something that they've done that's inflamed the crowd or whatever. It's just mental cases that want to get on TV or be somebody. But now Howie Mandel, who is obviously a noted germaphobe to begin with, now he was quoted as saying in one of these stories he's scared to perform live anymore. Because I guess if somebody did come up on stage and tackle you, they'd get their germs all over you too.
Yeah, he's also scared to touch a doorknob, so maybe we shouldn't listen to Howie Mandel.
Howie's a slight young man. He's not, he's wiry, but he's not a big, a beefy fellow that can take care of himself. So, but think he'd be nervous. But, is this what we're going to have to worry about now, that the potential of some fan or somebody jumping in on any kind of show is that going to be in the back of everybody's mind? Is it going to start hurting the show or hurting the comedy? Are you going to be funny if you're a stand-up comic? Are you going to be funny while you got your head on a swivel, making sure nobody's going to give you a spear at the Comedy Store? Because I can tell you from experience that crowds in certain places did hurt matches based on what they would have seen versus what they saw because they were so fucking out of control and nobody was riding herd on them. There's been, numerous instances of that in the territory days, but like I said, it's completely different now. Today's wrestler can go out and they can think in the back of their mind, yeah, some nut may jump in the ring or try to tackle me on the way to the ring, but it's probably not going to happen. There's really no reason to believe that lightning's going to strike in this instance, but it's possible. And, and so they still think about that. But in the territory days, depending on the territory or the town you were in, it was either probable to highly likely that was going to happen. And you still had to, and with less security and less space in between, and you still had to go out and do the shit you had to go out and do. And that did weigh heavily on your mind. Anything from, I've told a story of, Ernie Ladd telling Ox in Cleveland, the natives are getting restless. But a lot of times you knew with a town or just when you heard your finish in a certain town, you would say, okay, we're going to have some trouble here. And other times, I've told the stories about Tulsa or Biloxi, Mississippi, or Houma, Louisiana. Even if whatever the match was, you were thinking probably something is going to happen. And in other times, there were towns where you felt reasonably safe. You would say it would be very unlikely, but still possible, because you always were watching. But it'd be very unlikely that here in the Greensboro Coliseum, with the great police and so much room around the ring, it's highly unlikely anything's going to happen. If it does, it'll happen on the aisleway to and from, not around the ring. And, a different place like Oklahoma City, the Myriad was just so nice. You didn't have to worry too much. But you go 100 miles up the road, and in Tulsa, we were in Tulsa 21 times in 1984, the Midnight Express and I, and had 7 of those. What's that? That's 33%. 7 different interaction, riots, fights, people jumping in the ring, police intervention, whatever the case. So that's a third of the time in that town. In our match specifically. There was other incidents that didn't happen with us on shows. And every once in a while, I've told you about Galliano, Louisiana, haven't I?
The name sounds familiar. I don't remember which specific story.
With the afternoon show we did, it was a fishing village in South Louisiana. And they've got a little rec center that seated probably, it was a spot show. Maybe they could get 1,000 people in there, maybe 800, whatever. It was jammed, but it was just a small building. And it's a Sunday afternoon, 3:00 show. And we think, okay, it's just a spot show. And we get there and it looks normal. It wasn't that old of a building. And the only thing that made us nervous was the fact that we were so far in South Louisiana that there was literally one road to this town, because it was out into the bayou or whatever. So but then we get there and we get in the dressing room and we say, well, we have to literally walk out into the building to get out of the locker room to even go back to the parking lot. So we're on the main event. We're going to have to wait till the people leave. We know that. Because that's the thing. If you were a heel in the territory days, you either tried to get out before the show was over, or if you couldn't do that, you waited until all the baby faces had left. Because then, after the baby faces leave, any fans that are still there are there to cause trouble, and at least you've weeded a few out and you've separated it into the ones you need to keep an eye on, right? And then the cops walk you to your car and they can keep an eye on them too. But nevertheless, the people get there. By the time the bell rings, we're in this concrete block locker room and don't want to go out in the building and stand there and, in this crowd to be able to watch the matches. So we're just sitting there. The first match comes in and says, watch the people. And it was the heel dressing room. So that's the heel, the first guy out at a show. The first heel would always come back and tell the other heels kind of what the temperature was. And if you hear from the first match, watch the people, you got trouble. So it was like 4 or 5 matches on the card. The third match was from Dallas, off the Dallas TV. Fritz had loaned them out. Gorgeous Jimmy Garvin and Precious against Chris Adams. And immediately Dundee had come in and told Gorgeous, said, just have Precious walk out, get your jacket and come back. We're not going to leave her at ringside. That's not a good sign. Well, they had cops, and they walked Precious in the 40 feet to the ring and the 40 feet back. She was assaulted by like 6 different people, grabbing her and pulling her hair and trying to steal the jacket. They're all drunk, and it's on Sunday afternoon that we get the lowdown from Jack Curtis that it's a fishing village, and everybody came in off the boats on Friday night and started drinking. And some of them sober up in time to go to goddamn church on Sunday morning, and other ones don't sober up until Sunday night because then they go back out on the boat. So it's Sunday afternoon. So they're about as wrecked as they're going to get. So then he gives us our finish. It's the Midnight Express against Magnum TA and Junkyard Dog. And the first words out of his mouth are, heat on Dog. I said, what? Well, it's a DQ, and Dog can't take the bump over the top rope. We're going to throw Magnum over the top. So heat on Dog. All right. And then tag to Magnum. He makes a comeback. He rolls Bobby up. Dennis, grab him, throw him over the top rope, get DQ'd, and get out of there. Cornette, don't interfere. You don't have to tell me twice. Then Garvin comes back in, his fucking clumps of his hair pulled out and fucking mud and beer all over him. And he said, watch the people. So we went out there, and as soon as the bell rang, a big Cajun threw a beer in Bobby's eyes. He's blind at ringside. We're trying to find him a towel. The cops are surrounding me. There's 4 or 5 of them, and they look nervous. And I stood there and hugged the ring post for the entire match. They shined Dog and TA as much as they could, and then they cut Junkyard Dog off with a knee in the back when he hit the ropes, and the people stood up and started throwing shit. And so at that point, they basically got a chin lock on JYD and tagged in and out working that chin lock for 5 minutes. And then Dennis decided we've given him enough to get the fuck out of here. Tagged the Magnum. Nail Bobby, nail Dennis, nail Bobby, nail Dennis, bump, 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 bump. Roll up on Bobby. Dennis grabs fucking Magnum, throws him over the top rope. By the time Magnum hit the floor, both Bobby and Dennis were on the floor on either side of me, and we were in the middle of those cops running to the back while the people were trying to swing at us. They heard the announcement that Magnum and Dog were the winners in the ring, and we already got back through the door, and then they diverted them, and they were happy for a second, and we got the fuck out of there. And then the cops tell us in the locker room, we're going to lock the door like they used to do in Homa, too. Give us about an hour to clear the parking lot. So we sit there thinking, what are we going to go out and see? They got the baby faces out of the parking lot. They got everybody on the road. Then they got the fans as much as they could to clear the city property, which meant they all had to stand on the sidewalk at the edge of the parking lot. The cops circled us, put us in our car, and then one of the cops got in his car in front of us, the other one after. Well, they circled the car and walked us off the lot, and one car drove out in front of us to give the people the idea, and then they said, just turn left and don't stop till you get out of town. Thank you very much. So they definitely didn't get the match they would have got had they not been rip-roaring drunk and fucking ready to fight or fuck at any opportunity. So that can play on your... And any of the boys that say that they went out knowing they were probably going to have a fucking issue or even a riot and tried to get more heat anyway, they're fucking lying or they're crazy, one or the other.
Buddy Landau.
He didn't want that heat. Buddy didn't mind individual heat with a motherfucker. He would tell you to your face exactly what was wrong with you and what you could do with it. But he didn't want that kind of heat with 5,000 people in fucking Monroe, Louisiana.
Were there ever any occurrences of a crowd that did not seem like it was going to be that crowd, and all of a sudden shit just broke down? Other than Beckley, I guess. Were there any examples of crowds that you're like, this crowd seems fine, we can go out there and do our not normal, but we can go out there and work the way the Midnight Express want to work, and then it's like, oh boy, we better calm down, this crowd's getting too hot?
there were a few of those where you would think, like I mentioned, one of the towns where you were okay, and then, you know, the finish, like, goddamn, where was it? Oh, shit. I'm trying to think. Lawton, Oklahoma. That's where it was. It's a world-class spot show, and Midnight Express and the Fantastics. And we'd never been there, but, you know, it's not like it's a teeming metropolis, especially almost 40 years ago, but it was a decent building, and, you know, everything looked okay. And the Dallas crowds you didn't have nearly the heat that you did from the Louisiana crowds, the world-class territory versus Mid-South. We still had issues with people in world class, as I've recounted some stories from time to time, and especially the Sportatorium, they could get rowdy. But it wasn't just constant like it was in Louisiana. So we're in Lawton, Oklahoma, and goddamn, I can't remember what it was. Oh, I did something. I interfered, poked one of the Fantastics, and one of the guys on the front row stood up and grabbed a fucking chair and folded it up, and I'm yelling at him, and Bobby sees it and gets down and grabs a chair, and he grabs it and he folds it up. And at that point, every male member of the goddamn east section of ringside stood up and picked their chair up and folded it up, and Bobby unfolded his chair and set it fucking down. And we just kind of got out of there as quickly as we could. You know, I mean, something can happen at any point. I didn't expect that guy to jump me in Charlotte that time when Dusty did the flying crossbody off the apron, because there was, you know, 2 or 3 cops behind me. But, you know, shit can happen. But that's the thing now. It's changed from it happened much more often then, but you could kind of see it coming because there was a reason for it. And it was only directed at the heels. And it was usually not in just some strange place, but rather at a specific point in the match where you would think would inflame somebody. And like I said, now they don't care who they're tackling, babyface, heel, whether they like him or hate him or whatever. They just want to get a name and, you know, get some attention of some kind because something's wrong upstairs.
It's a deranged fan, not an angry fan.
Yeah, so with that, it's happening less, but you can never tell where it's going to happen or when because it makes no sense. So, you know, I can see people being, especially any of the guys and girls that have never worked the territories and didn't feel what heat was like and didn't go out. You hadn't got used to it. Because now there are people in the business that have been heels for 10, 15 years and have never experienced getting actual heat or anybody trying to jump them or hit the ring or fuck their vehicle up or do any of these things. And so it's got to be shocking. Whereas in those days, you got used to it and you expected it. And I knew what was going to happen even before I got into business because I'd been a photographer for years and seen all that shit happen to other people and testified in court cases about it. So you already had baked that in the cake, as they say. You already knew that shit was probably going to take place at least a few times a month. And then it still wasn't more fun when it happened, but you didn't dwell on it as much because you were kind of like, well, we'll just see what happens. You were already resigned or resolved or whatever. Does that make any sense?
Makes a lot of sense, and it really puts things in perspective. You know, I was thinking it when watching Raw, not to your specific story here, but just the safety these guys have, other than when a deranged fan hops the rail and tackles you. Like Seth Rollins is a heel, and he's dancing and swaying and having a great time going to the ring. Imagine if he had heat.
Well, I mean, they've got the big wide entrance and the railings and et cetera, but what just still amazes me to this day.
And they got that, and you're right, they've got that, and now we've seen enough examples that if you want to get over that rail, you got to be quick to really stop one of these people because they're going to go for it.
Yeah, and so again, that was what led to more people being able to do it and get away with it in the old days was you've seen on Twitter that old picture of the Cobo Arena or the Olympic Auditorium with no people, just the seating set up where you got these 4-foot wide aisles and hundreds of people on all sides of you, and they're hidden. and they can do it undercover. And who's to say that the hand with the knife doesn't come out right to the ribs and they're gone? And that's the way the shit happened then. Now there's more room, there's more railings, there's more space separating the ring, the aisleway. And nobody's trying to attack anybody for a violent, angry reason. And, you know, the parking, I mean, it was still at independent shows. You know, you've still got tight quarters, but is anybody trying to make a name on an independent show? Nobody's seeing those. The people that are advertised on them, nobody knows they're there. So they're trying to do these, you know, high visibility shows and get their shit in there. But that's, you know, again, that's the thing, is that it could happen at any time because this makes no sense. And, you know, you don't know where it's coming from. But what freaks me out the most is the fighting in the arena still. My butthole quivers every time I see baby faces, heels, anybody going over the rail out in the crowd. Because you would have literally been committing suicide in some cases if you had done that years ago. You would have definitely been in a fucking issue, possibly hand-to-hand, possibly somebody with a knife, possibly somebody whacking you with a chair to help the guy you're fighting.
The promoter would probably be talking you out of doing it.
The promoter would be firing you after you did it, because there wouldn't be no talking out of. If you had told a promoter beforehand, we're going to go over the rail and fight in the crowd, he just said, well, pack your bag now because you ain't getting me sued. I'm already paying too many lawyers from all the motherfuckers jumping in the ring for you to be such an idiot that you're going to go out in their home turf. So that would have never flown if it had been told about beforehand, and you would have got fired if you'd have done it afterwards if you were not in the hospital already. Because the baby face would have been fine, but the heel would have been cut. And still, with these guys doing this shit out in the building, some kid's going to get their teeth kicked in, and then either a guy's going to retaliate or somebody's going to sue. So, but still, I'm just amazed at any time that you can talk, much less they want to do it of their own idea. Any of the boys now, but any heel in general, into going over the rail and out into the people, even with security following you around. I've been attacked with 8 fucking police surrounding me in a flying wedge. So, fuck that. Yeah, there's 3 guys from Atlas Security. No disrespect, but there's 3 guys from Atlas Security, and you're in the middle of fucking 2,000 people in your underwear. If nobody hits you, that means nobody gives a shit about you.
It would be interesting if these things happening in LA, the Will Smith incident, now the Chappelle incident, if it led to some sort of new law allowing entertainers to fight back as much as they want anyone who attacks them in any way. That could be fun.
The retaliation law.
Yeah.
That'd be sort of like the Good Samaritan law they passed. It got Jerry Seinfeld and his friends locked up for a year. But I'll tell you one thing, Brian. I've had a lot of close shaves in my life, but of all the close shaves that I've had, I have never enjoyed any as much as I've enjoyed the ones from the folks at Manscaped. How's that transition for you? See, now you're dealing with a professional here.
Yeah, I guess so.
Listeners, are you ready to be blown away? Well, I'll tell you what. We've got big news here. Manscaped has just relaunched the Ultra Smooth package. It's back, baby. And your package is going to be smoother than ever. Your crop is going to be tended like you've got Farmer Brown himself down there. It's your favorite tool and your complement to the Lawnmower 4.0 while keeping your boys smooth and looking and feeling and smelling their best, and especially now with Mother's Day and Father's Day coming up in quick succession. Well, you can't get to be a mother or a father with a stinky, shaggy crotch. But now you can buff, protect, and shave your most sensitive areas with, as I said, the Ultra Smooth package. What you do is you just grab that Lawnmower 4.0 that you've already got and give them the classic trim down there. And then you take out the Ultra Smooth package and use the Crop Exfoliator, infused with ingredients that can soothe, clear, and keep the skin on and around your groin. Oh, feeling refreshed. I always want to keep the skin on my groin, and also the skin around it is something I'd like to keep a hold of it at all costs as well. But it can be feeling refreshed. See, that was put the period in the wrong place.
Right.
The crop exfoliator can help reduce the risk of ingrown hairs also, because you don't want that to happen. When they grow the other way, well, they'll come out the back of your ass and they'll look shaggy. Then you've got the crop gel, where it's a clear shaving gel just for the groinal area so you can see where you're shaving. You don't want to obscure your view down there. There's things that could be severed if you don't have a good clear view. And finally, the crop shaver, designed for shaving the groin area with confidence. You know, Brian, you always need confidence when you're shaving your nuts. Because I'm telling you, anything down there, you don't want the hand shaking. You don't want to be second guessing yourself. Things could happen. It could be a bloodbath. But these 3 precision blades in the crop shaver include extra wide lubricating strips and a pivoting head. And we have talked about it many times, but you will not beat the pivoting head for your ultimate groin grooming experience, or any groin experience that you want to have will be exacerbated and possibly masturbated with pivoting head. All kinds of baited. The crop shaver's not your average razor. It's smaller and it's thicker. That's what they say about me. Wait, it's got a micro comb bar that allows for the best shave possible from any angle. You can stand on your head. You can stick a leg out the window. Whatever angle you get in, you'll get the best shave possible. And all 3 of these things, the crop exfoliator, the crop gel, and the crop shaver, are vegan, cruelty-free, and sulfate-free products. You will not get any sulfates in this razor. And apparently, if you cut somebody's throat with this razor, it's not considered cruel, because it's cruelty-free. You have to be a vegan to use this stuff. No, the products are vegan. You don't have to.
The products are vegan, and no one's going to be slicing anyone's throat with their Manscaped products. That's not how they're used, and not how we're going to encourage people to use them.
Well, no, there's nothing in the manual about that at all. It's just optional. It's up to you. But go for ear to ear if you're going to do it, because anything less is cruel. Folks, it's time to get up close and personal with the best tools for the job, the Ultra Smooth package from Manscaped. And right now, you can get 20% off and free shipping if you use the code DRIVE, D-R-I-V-E, at manscaped.com. 20% off and free shipping with the code DRIVE at manscaped.com for the Ultra Smooth package, or anything else that you want to use from Manscaped to smooth out your fellas down there. Your balls are going to thank you, and mothers will thank you, and fathers will thank you. And how, if there's a Mother's Day and a Father's Day, why is there not a Children's Day? And would children care if you shave your crotch? That's a question for another time.
No, that's not a question for any time.
Well, then maybe they just don't care. Well, speaking of things stinking around the dinner table, do you think that there was a little hint of a smell of jealousy around the dinner table at the McMahon family household, that Triple H has gotten all the attention lately and poor Stephanie's been left out? So now, in response to this, she got her own episode of Evil. Stephanie McMahon, WWE Evil, this past week on television, that I watched instead of NXT again, because again, they gave me nothing interesting to want to see. Brian, have you ever seen anybody like that production team try to stretch an hour out of a minute career in wrestling as they did with and basically tried to present her as one of the top heels in the history of the entire wrestling promotion?
Well, to be fair, they had several experts also say that, like some radio guys and Lita, so...
And what, Dr. Phil, was he on this one? I forgot. I think he was in there too.
Was it, we got Dr. Phil for an afternoon, let's ask him generic questions and plug it into the entire series? What the hell does he
he's
do
always in the same place. He's always in the same place. So I think let's mention a name and get him to say something. I'm not knocking Stephanie when I say this, that it was obvious that they were working as hard as they could to say everything 5 times, because she didn't have an hour documentary career in wrestling. at least not in front of the camera. She never worked anywhere for any promotion but the WWE. She never made any outside wrestling appearance. She was never really a wrestler, although she wrestled a couple of gimmick matches. She was never really a manager, although she was in the corner a few times of people. Did she ever work a house show even for the WWE?
Probably. When things were really, really hot, probably.
Possibly. But she had a spot that was created specifically because she was the daughter of the owner of the company. And this is, again, she's a very good promo. The McMahon jeans, they didn't get them from Linda, but Shane and Stephanie can both talk. And she presented herself as she was supposed to. A lot of other people couldn't have carried that off. But still, it was what it was. The reason that she was involved was because of the evil McMahon empire and the interplay between them. If she was anybody else in the world, she wouldn't have the spot and it wouldn't have worked. And, I mean, from the start of the show, they showed one picture of her with, who was it, somebody. It wasn't her tap dancing on Andre's palm. But she said, well, I grew up in our business. No, she didn't. Again, not knocking Stephanie. She wasn't like she was the daughter of anybody else in any territory. She was the daughter of Vince McMahon. The boys weren't calling her over to their knees in the locker room to tell her everything that was wrong or right with the wrestling business and where her dad was going right and where he was making mistakes and blah, blah, blah. If she grew up going to the matches at the Garden or being around some of the boys at Vince's house, they were very deferential to her as the daughter of the boss. It's not like growing up in the locker room, one of the offspring of one of the boys. Then you get the real scoop. She went to college, and I was still there when she came out of college, and they mentioned at the start of this program she was working as an intern at the TV studio. And that was the sum total of experience of any kind that she had in the business, and it's not her fault because she was in school before. But she goes from being an intern at the TV studio to probably one of the last ideas that Shitstain had, apparently, because this happened in the summer of '99. I just left, come to OVW in Louisville. They show footage from a production meeting at some TV, because there was Kevin Dunn, there was Vince, there was the standard crew of a production meeting at a pay-per-view or a TV taping. And she was sitting there. They had started having her come into the meetings, and Triple H too. And they tried to pass it off like that was when she was first hearing that she was going to be in an angle with The Undertaker and be carried out on the cross like she was a pawn in the game, as they say. Does anybody legitimately believe that Stephanie, the daughter of Vince McMahon, the owner of the company, first heard that she was going to be involved in this angle at the production meeting the day of the show? Brian, answer me that.
I don't understand why they would believe that.
Because apparently Stephanie said that. And here was another quote from Stephanie. I don't know if this was right at this moment, but she said, that was the moment that my character realized. God damn, she didn't even have the nerve to go to the actor's studio before she became a thespian. So they go through the whole thing where Triple H stops the wedding that she was going to have to test because he revealed that he married her in Vegas and had the video while she was Cosby'd in the front seat. That it's possible to marry an unconscious person. Has anybody ever been introduced into the business in worse angles? The Undertaker cross and the fucking drugged wedding and the... I gotta be honest, I never saw a lot of this stuff because I just moved to Louisville and I was watching as little WWF as I could at that point because I just got out of there and I was relieved. I would watch Raw most often on Monday nights because I was writing Wednesday's OVW television. Thursday, when SmackDown was on, was my one day where I got away from the wrestling business, so I would tape it and intend to watch it later and usually not ever come around to it. When some of the OVW guys would be brought up to the main roster, I would watch whatever program they were on for a week or two until I got disgusted and pissed off at their way they were being presented and buried, started breaking shit, and then I quit watching it. And then Triple H fucked the dead body in the coffin. And I think I sent out a memo telling everybody in the company and OVW it was okay if they didn't watch anymore either, because I didn't want them to learn any bad habits. But some of this stuff I had not seen. But it wasn't very good. And they actually called Stephanie turning on Vince one of the greatest heel turns in history. I actually had forgotten she turned on Vince at one point. They tried to make Vince the babyface. But now we find out that that is up there with Ole turning on Dusty in the cage and Zbyszko stabbing Bruno in the back and Stephanie turning on Vince. Her first match got longer on the show than it lasted in the ring. She became the general manager of SmackDown. Did she at one point get a boob job and then take them out? Did she at one point look a lot more protuberant, long about the mid or late 2000s than she did before or afterwards? Or was I just imagining, was it one of those push-up bras?
Well, she definitely got enhancement work. I think she's openly talked about that in the past, but also I think if you look at her, she's a lot healthier looking than at other times where she maybe got a little lean, so that may have affected things. I don't know what she's taken out of her body, but she's grown up, she's older, so she looks leaner and different.
Leaner would explain it. So then, right about that, gosh, I don't even know. Maybe it has it on her Wikipedia. Maybe you could Google that. But when did she become head of creative? She starts interning in late 98, early 99. She does the angle there with Undertaker in the summertime of 99. I know that's just why I moved to Louisville in July of 99, so sometime right after that. Shitstain then fucks everybody around and leaves with no notice and calls Vince on the phone, tell him he's done. That was September of 99. When did Stephanie become the head of creative and start hiring all the TV writers? Within a year after that? Pretty soon?
I'm actually looking for the exact time. I see a quote here that just says Stephanie McMahon is recalled being put in charge of the WWE creative team just 2 weeks after initially joining the group as a writer.
So
McMahon had worked in various positions in WWE and is currently
which ones? Yes, an intern and a person tied to a cross. That's the point. I've realized this show has made me realize that we got another thing to thank Shitstain for. Because when he left and went to WCW, conned them into believing that he had been responsible for the Attitude Era, left Vince high and dry. Vince brings in a member of the family, makes her head of creative, and they start hiring TV writers because now he can't trust the wrestling people. So inadvertently, like he does everything else, Shitstain is responsible for TV writers getting involved in wrestling. And they did not mention on this program that Stephanie became head of creative of the biggest wrestling promotion in the world with 2 weeks experience on the creative team and 2 years tops experience as an intern / person strapped to a cross / boss's daughter. So everybody praising a strong woman in a position of power, let's be honest, no other woman in the world would have got this job because there wasn't a spot like that unless it was Vince's daughter. She did a good job of what she did, but are we expected to believe that Stephanie McMahon is one of the greatest on-camera personalities in the history of wrestling? I'm sorry. And 1 hour of her being put over, catered to, and doing her best Vince imitation with the characters and everything, it was long and repetitious. And was there anything about this that drew money, or was it just a lot of TV moments with the family?
No, this was horrible. And the other thing was it went into kayfabe, and it stayed in kayfabe. It was kind of telling her story, and again, in the bullshit McMahon fashion. I grew up around wrestling. I was in the locker room. I give them credit for not including Andre the Giant being her best friend in the story here. But we saw the picture.
I bet that just left the cutting room floor.
And then all of a sudden she's on TV, and then all of a sudden that's the real person. The character does this, she does this, she does this. They never talk about the real person or anything she ever does behind the scenes ever again. That's the real interesting special.
Well, I wish they'd kayfabe more on the guys that actually matter. But they tell them, they tell every secret in the world, but this, they try to blur the lines of reality somehow. After Stephanie was already talking about her character realized, go ahead.
If you watch this, it reveals why WWE lost so much audience. After a while, repeat after repeat, segment after segment of Stephanie cutting down top baby faces. You don't see any comeback. There's never like, and then this person got even. No, there's none of that. It's just her cutting the balls off of the Big Show, Bryan Danielson. Every single person she encountered on that thing. And I think that's one of the reasons a lot of people lost interest in WWE. They act like in this documentary, the Authority was such an important part of the show and it became a thing and we needed that. The Authority was one of the things that hurt the show.
It's what ran people off.
Yeah.
Well, you know, what other entity, what other professional sports franchise, what other entertainment company, record company, movie studio, any entity, any business has for the past 25 years been presented as if the people who own it are not only evil people trying to prevent the fans of that particular organization seeing what they want to see, but they're trying to screw around all of the employees. Sooner or later, there's going to be a backlash. No pun intended with this weekend's pay-per-view. And that's what I've said a million times. Vince McMahon was one of the premier heels and television personas in the history of wrestling. And when that had run its course, somebody should have corrected that course. The sons and daughters and grandsons and granddaughters and offspring and multi-generational McMahons didn't all need to follow in evil footsteps. Then it turned people against the promotion itself, which is why that suddenly AEW 3 years ago became the biggest crowdfunding project in the history of wrestling, where all the people started buying tickets even if they couldn't go to the show because they wanted to take up for the wrestlers that had been screwed around by the evil McMahons. So the McMahon family created the demand and fulfillment of their own competition by disgruntling the people that have been watching them for years by giving them shit and trying to make them like it. Every time I go over here to Kroger and go shopping, I want to know that the guy running that place hates all of his customers and wants to screw all of his employees. That's the place I want to shop.
That was the thing. It went into kayfabe, and then they pretended like the Authority era was some golden period, as opposed to the period where they ran people off, where the show became unwatchable. And WWE's never addressed their role in what independent wrestling is now, which is less about being an independent wrestling promotion and more like up yours at WWE.
Yeah. Let the people that are most devoted to wrestling want to band together and support anything besides the biggest wrestling company. But you know what? At least on the other channel, on one of the big networks, we have a highly rated program about a wrestler, and we actually even see him wrestling sometimes. It's just that it's not a wrestling show. But more people are watching that than any of the wrestling shows. As a matter of fact, I heard Young Rock is NBC's highest rated comedy. And that both shows you how little appeal that wrestling has these days, that shows about the childhood of a famous wrestler get better ratings than wrestling shows, and it shows you how fucking far the networks have fallen. This is now I Love Lucy, MASH, Seinfeld, Young Rock.
Which isn't funny at all and is not entertaining at all. It's a horrible show.
Actually, this one was funny this last week. It was fucking hilarious.
There's a reason they've chased people off to cable. It's because network comedy is the lamest shit. And if they call this a comedy, I don't know what it is. It's not really a drama. It's not really a comedy. But it's pure suck. And it's an awful show.
A dramedy. That's what they call the things they can't figure out what they're doing, and they try to make them everything. But this episode this week was hilarious. You just had to, you didn't even have to turn the sound up. Because this episode covered his first match in Corpus Christi, Texas. I was there. So on this one, I can speak firsthand. Colt Cabana played Steve Lombardi, the Brooklyn Brawler. And he actually didn't look too far off from what Lombardi looked like back in those days. So that, believe it or not, Colt Cabana was the star of this show. He was the best actor and looked the most like the person he was portraying.
And that was the last time we're going to see Colt Cabana on TV for the rest of the year.
Well, because he's the Brooklyn Brawler, and I don't think Brawler figures into too much more.
Well, also because it's the first time we've seen Colt Cabana on TV all year. Does anyone use him on TV?
Oh, you mean the other TV show? No, I think he gets Tony's check, but I don't think he needs to show up anymore or anything. But anyway, that's where the string of winners ended. Brian, you got to go back just to see the facsimiles that they came up with for everybody. Now, first of all, the Brawler picked Rock up at the airport, which he did, and he was his opponent that night also, which he was. And they get to the building, and I don't know what building they shot, but it wasn't the old Coliseum in Corpus Christi, because I've worked that building for World Class. I worked that building for Crockett. That was the Clash of Champions where Mascaras worked with Cactus Jack. And I was there on this particular night, and that wasn't the old Corpus Christi Coliseum. And they said, oh, it's sold out, 15,000 fans for Rock's first match. The whole story was he was nervous because the first match ever in front of people on a WWF show in front of 15,000 people. It was sold out that night, but the old Coliseum in Corpus Christi only seated about 6,000, give or take, so that's what it was. And I got to be honest with you, I always liked working that building and working Corpus Christi because it's a fucking pain in the ass to get there. Even if you live in Dallas, it's almost 500 miles to Corpus Christi. You got to fly from almost anywhere. But once you get there, it's beautiful. It's on the ocean. Not only is the Coliseum right across the street from the ocean, but also like 4 blocks down was the Holiday Inn. All the boys stayed. They had incredible room service with seafood. And once you got there, you could like relax and have a nice, decent meal, a nice room. All the girls knew where the hotel was, and you're just 4 blocks down from the building. So that was good. Back to Rock's first night. Michael Hayes. I swear to God, I wish we had a Stephen P. New spot because this would call for it. Michael Hayes, if he still had the gumption of a free bird, would either sue or physically attack the motherfucker that they claimed was him. Not only was he using a horribly exaggerated Southern accent, something that, it was more South Carolina than Pensacola, but it's something that somebody without a Southern accent would make up as a Southern accent. And he was 5'6". He just looked like some little short, dumpy fuck. And they called him Michael Hayes. The Iron Sheik came in. I don't know who he is, but he was dressed better than the real one. He had a beautiful, spotless, immaculate suit and all this jewelry. The real Sheik would come in with that shit that had been down the road for a year or two. Steve Austin is played by Luke Hawks. You've heard of him. He's a guy in Louisiana that also does stunt work in the movies, and he's a wrestler. And I gotta give him something. He looks absolutely nothing like Steve Austin did or does, but he talked just like him. He put the work in. sounded, if you closed your eyes, you could hear Austin's cadence. Triple H. You've had to have seen a picture of the Triple H. They put it out on Twitter.
Yeah, I saw a picture of like a locker room scene with various people. There were a few I couldn't figure out who the hell they were.
Yeah. Well, Triple H looked like a cover of a crossover magazine where Blue Boy met Fox Hunting Weekly. And I started to realize then why the guy they got to as Mick Foley, he didn't look too bad because between the long hair and the mask, you can't really see him, right? Because he was Mankind then. The Undertaker looked like one of those United Kingdom tribute tour ripoff poster Undertakers, right? Like he's fucking 6'2" and emaciated, but he's got long hair and a hat. And Bruce Pritchard was a character on the show at Gorilla Position, and they didn't even try. They just hired some fucking guy and called him Bruce Pritchard. Not even anything remotely looking like him, same color hair, any kind of dress, manner of speed. They just found some guy doing valet parking, said, "You're Bruce Pritchard."
You see that WWE Evil thing? Bruce Pritchard looks like Calvert DeForest lately.
Well, Larry
Bud Melman?
Yes, I know who Larry Bud Melman was. Calvert DeForest, David Letterman's most entertaining fucking recurring regular for many years until he couldn't leave and go to CBS and to keep the name.
Other than Chris Elliott, yes.
Well, I still liked Larry Bud. But the point is, I realized watching this show why that not everybody can be a big wrestling star. Because every once in a while they'll find one. They found a guy that looked kind of like Bam Bam Bigelow, right? And the guy that they've got playing young Rock around the era of his first match ain't too far off. But most of these guys, you can't find people that look like any of these guys. That's why they were stars, because they didn't look like everybody else. They didn't look like normal people. And it's just so awkward recreating that. Not only this is not just because I know these people in real life, as they say. This is because everybody knows what these people look like that are watching this show. And it's got to be, what the fuck? It takes your mind off the story they're trying to tell you when you're sitting there going, that's not Triple H. This guy's head was the size of Triple H's nose. In other words, he had a normal-sized human head.
Oh, I thought you meant he had a big head.
No. He had the whole head was as big as Triple H's nose.
Oh.
Triple H's head is as big as this whole guy. And then the only thing about the actual match is they presented it as if the people were just hostile to Rock and didn't care and were sitting there, and then suddenly, because he sold Brawler's chin lock and got him into it, then they cheered him for his comeback. This was not, the people who knew. We knew he was going to be something. I was impressed by this, but then the time that I called Vince on the phone and said, hey, he's going to be your champion in 5 years, was after the first time after this that I saw him work out with Dr. Tom and some of the other guys at the studio when we could talk and I could see a little more, but we knew that he had the size and the athletic ability and the genealogy, and he did a good job here. He was very advanced for a guy who had never had a match in front of people, but it was a regular dark match in Corpus Christi, Texas. It was babyface versus heel. The people booed the Brooklyn Brawler, and they cheered the guy that was wrestling the Brooklyn Brawler. Not like Steve Austin or The Rock, but they cheered him like they cheered all the baby faces back then that were wrestling the heels. And because it was the first match of the night, it's not like they had been worn the fuck out. So the match was fine. It wasn't earth-shaking. You could see that he was special or going to be special. But there wasn't some aha moment where the people suddenly went from, we don't want to see you at all, to tearing the house down. It was nice cheers. But that was the episode of Young Rock this week. Aren't you sorry you missed it?
Like I said, there's a reason why people don't watch network TV anymore. There's a reason why kids don't watch TV at all. There's nothing to watch. If there was a show that was hip, that captured an audience, there'd be some buzz about it. There's never any buzz about Young Rock. It's a terrible show. It's lame. It's not funny. It's not entertaining. Historically inaccurate in miraculous ways at times. Just a waste of time.
Okay, maybe you might know this, because there was one hilarious thing that would actually probably only be hilarious to me, you, and possibly the listeners of this program. There's Rock sitting down talking to Austin, and they had their initial meeting and conversation, and somehow, I can't remember, but somehow it comes up, whatever somebody else was wearing, the outfit, the gimmick, outlandish, whatever, and Austin said, "You think that's bad? Look at that guy." And then they pan over, and there's Mantar with the bison head on, trying to figure out how to get in the door. And he can't get in the door. He's trying to turn sideways, bonk. And he's trying to turn this way, bonk. And he's trying to bend over, bonk. And that was, to me, that was kind of funny. But the only problem I'm thinking is, in February of 96, was Mantar still even there? Or did they just decide to put that in as a sight gag?
In February of 96 for the dark match. I don't remember if he was still there or not.
Well, in February 96, that's when Rock had his dark match in Corpus Christi. I believe it was February, wasn't it? But Mantar, because I was not on the creative team that infamous night that I managed Mantar, because I didn't know about it until 30 minutes beforehand, and Bruce was ribbing me. Probably see if I'd walk out or go along with it. I should have walked out. It saved me a lot of grief later in life. But that was in 95. And Mantor didn't last that long. How long did Mantor last?
I don't know.
I can't remember more than 3 matches. And the one I was at ringside for and 2 others that I unfortunately witnessed.
There are still 2 hours left of this fucking podcast. I'm going to bed. If you watch and you wanted to hear the rest of this, go listen to Jim Cornette. Don't come to me.